seniors. It's terrible housing and everything. Now I don't know what I did with it. I let other people look at it, and that was a mistake. You know what I mean? Sometimes. I don't know what happened to it. Oh, here it is. This doesn't have everybody.
Good afternoon, everyone. I see we have a nice big group, a big happy family. So we're going to start with our introductions. I'll start with this end, if you'll give us your name and where you're from.
My name is...
if you press your button.
Press my little button here. Okay. My name is Charles Molnar. I go by Chuck. Please call me Chuck.
And where are you from?
And I'm from the most beautiful county in the state of California, Santa Cruz, and I represent both Santa Cruz and San Benito counties.
My name is Peter McGrath. My friends call me Pete. I've been working with Zelda for the last 9 or 10 years in Los Angeles, and my hometown is beautiful downtown Burbank, but not as pretty as Santa Cruz.
My name is Mary Hodgson. I'm from the most beautiful place in all of California, San Francisco Bay Area region.
Okay, and I'm Rick Dahlgren. I represent PSA 31, Merced County, heart of the state.
Where was that?
Tom Lacey, Lancaster, California, on the high desert.
John Kerwin, I represent PSA 14 from Madera County.
And I'm Zelda Hutcherson from the Los Angeles area.
I'm Ellie Block, and I'm from Marin County.
Joan Iacovone, PSA 19 in the LA area, but I represent the Agora Hills District 1314.
I'm Marnell White, and I represent PSA 12, and our counties are Alpine, Amador, Mariposa, Calaveras, and Tuolumne. And they're all beautiful.
My name is John L. Sullivan, also known as Leo. Only people in this room know who John L. Sullivan is. It's losing its name now. I am from PSA 21, which is for Riverside County, and I live in the city of Palm Desert, which everybody wants to go to now.
I'm Judy Stout. I know it says Judith, but I don't know that name. Anyway, I'm from the surrounding counties here. I represent Sutter, my home county. Sutter, Yuba, Sierra, Placer, Nevada, Sacramento, and Yolo.
I'm Art Sarin. Arthur is what my wife calls me when she's angry with me. So it's Art. I'm from San Diego County, the southernmost beautiful part of the state, and I'm on PSA 23.
I'm Kenneth Ryan. I represent the 5 counties in the northeast corner of California: Trinity, Siskiyou, Modoc, Lassen, and Redding area. There are all 5 of us, and there are only 2 of us, and it's pretty hard to beat Mount Shasta as a home, which is where I live.
I'm not sure how to use this, but I'm from Riverside County, PSA 21, and Riverside is the heart of Riverside County. It was the capital, the orange capital, and it has that beautiful Mission Inn that you should all visit.
Okay, could I have our attorney and our resource people, messengers, to introduce themselves as well?
Of course, I'm Lauren Goshen. I'm with the Office of Legislative Counsel, and I'll be your volunteer here today. If you have any questions, please let me know. be filling out copies of your proposals with any amendments that you might adopt to them, and then sending them on their way to be finalized for tomorrow.
And I know we have Mrs. Mead over there, and our messenger. Introduce yourself, please.
I'm Mary Ann Miller in Sacramento. I'm cousin of Evelyn Toms. She dragged me into this.
Very
I'm
good.
glad she did.
Good.
Welcome.
And I'm Lee Newton, a citizen of the Antelope Valley. I'm with State Senator Nina Fraser, and I was also drafted.
Well, we're happy to have our draftees as well as our volunteers. Welcome to all. I think we have 15 members here. So we're going to begin as soon as possible. I know we have some presenters already here.
Zelda?
Yeah.
I just got a phone call that asks you to use your microphone.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
They said wanted you to use your microphone so everybody could hear you.
Oh.
And then when the speakers come, they were requested to come up to
Can everyone hear me? Okay.
I have one question. Thomas Lacey, I don't have your name. Where's Thomas Lacey?
Right here.
Okay, thank you.
Did you get everybody? There's only one person missing, and that's Wilson. According to my count, everyone else is here. That's on my list.
And I don't have a Wilson.
I'm sorry?
I don't have a Wilson on my list.
You don't?
No.
You don't either? Well, the list that they gave me has Wilson, so anyway, she's not here. So we have 15 members present. So 8 will be our quota, our quorum, rather. We have, let's see, where's my list of our proposals?
Page 77.
Yeah, I've got a separate book here. The first one that I have is AP 9, Public Transportation. Which one is yours, Purcell? AP 9. Okay. In order to save time, we may not take them in order. We will take them according to who is here to present their bill. So if you would like to start, Ms. Purcell.
Okay.
We can begin with you.
Which one do you want, 14 or 15?
14.
14.
That would be.
Affordable housing, in what we were.
I would accept a motion to hear.
No, I'm sorry, I got the wrong one. I got 93. I turned the page and here it is. The disabled person and disabled.
AP, what's the AP number?
AP. What happened here? I have 2 of them. Yeah, AP, it's 93 and 97. AP 15 and AP.
No, which one are you going to do first?
I'll take disabled person and disabled veteran.
And that is AP?
Yeah. That's page 93.
AP 15.
And the timekeeper, I also want to give equal time to my co-author. So remind me when the time is halfway through, please.
Madam Chairman?
Yes.
I have a question. This is Mrs. Wilson.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess we'll have to have you to sit down here since I don't think it's
Right
quite.
here.
Right next to Phyllis.
Next to Phyllis, but I don't have a card for her.
I'm sorry.
It was there. I don't.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear her.
I don't have a card for her.
It was up here.
Yeah.
The card, you mean, we have a name card for her. We don't have one for Ms. Yakavon.
Here it is.
Oh, you got yours? Okay. All right. Would you add her to the list, to your list?
First name?
Patricia.
Patricia Wilson.
Or Pat.
Okay, so we're going to start with AP 15.
Okay. This is to help the veterans find places. There has been an influx.
I'm sorry, I needed a motion to hear AP 15.
I make a motion that we hear
AP 15.
AP 15.
Okay.
It's been
That
moved
was
and
under
seconded
page
that we hear AP
93. I
15.
see some of you are still turning pages. All right. And under existing law, it is unlawful for a person to go over the space or park on that line for any kind of car, and especially in a disabled parking space. And I got a ticket, and there's a number of people that have gotten tickets. And an influx of veterans are coming, and we need more spaces, and we should make that a warning or something. If they do go over a line, it would be up to the legislature that it adopts this. But there is a crisis on the number of parking spaces too, and that's in here. And it was suggested by the legislative aid to make that 10 feet, because I was getting all different types of numbers, and I gave them proof of that in writing up this. And so we have it down as 10 feet. And this would satisfy that need. It would also give more parking spaces to all of us, and especially taking away the penalty for doing it on the line or over the line. And as we all know...
Madam Chairman?
Yes.
Could Phyllis move the mic a little closer to her mouth?
You're having trouble hearing.
And maybe slow her pace down just
Okay, yes, I can. I just know there's a time limit. I think I'm a little rush on that, but I will slow the time down. So what I'm trying to ask is that there will be no penalty for going over that line slightly, and also for making the parking spaces 10 feet wide. If it's 10 feet wide, there probably won't need any business going over the line, but I thought I'd include those two. Okay? And thank you. Now, John, do you want to take over?
You need to sit down there if you're going to speak on the proposal. Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, John.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to add that from experience, my wife is a person that has to use a walker when she does drive. She has to open the door quite wide in order to get in and out of the vehicle. In light of what happened to Phyllis, I think it's wrong for them to put any kind of a penalty on for disabled people who are exiting their vehicle and someone had parked too close to them, and they don't have enough room to get out. So I think that the penalties should be removed by the legislature, and the parking spaces to go to 10 feet. Not just for disabled persons, but also for veterans. Veterans do have problems getting in and out of their vehicles, especially if they drive. That's all I'd like to add. Thank you.
Did you want to close?
Yes, John, thank you. That was very good. And are there any questions? Did we ask for questions now or no?
Did you finish?
Yes, I am. Then I'm closing.
Okay, then we're going to start on this side. Is there anyone over here that has any questions on the proposal? Yes.
I, too, was a caregiver for many years, so I know a little bit about this, and I also used to clean parking lots. So when you talk about a 10-foot width, is this the same spaces that would have the cross hatches of 4 or 5 feet on one side, or are you talking about just enlarging the disabled space to 10 feet and you're not considering the cross hatches, or you're assuming they're not there?
Because if you park in the crosshatch or on the line of the crosshatches, you can get a ticket. That's what I did. I was 4 inches over, about that far over, and I got a ticket. So, and I had to have the door open on this side, and the cross lines were on the other side. So I went over a little bit on the other side, thinking it was okay. But we are not exempt because we're handicapped. And even with the veterans coming on, they need more space. Do I intend to make every space 10 feet? No. Are there some 10 feet already? Yes, some of the newer ones, but it's not standardized. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Yes.
I was just looking for the number. I believe there's also a bill in here somewhere, a proposal in here somewhere about having people turn in disabled placards as soon as a person no longer needs them, or for some reason. Because I think that's part of the problem, is that there's never enough handicap spaces available, and we all know that people use them that shouldn't be using them.
Yeah, this is not part of my bill.
My question is, could that be included in this and kind of carry two things with one stone, or is that not permitted? I'm new, so I don't know.
I have no idea. That's adding something. That's changing it. I don't know if we can do it in committee like that. And I don't know if
That's not the purpose of this proposal.
Okay, no. But I would suggest you write a proposal in regards. Oh, there is there. Okay. That way. Is there any other questions? What is it?
Phyllis, it says on the summary, a violation of this provision is punishable by a penalty or fine of up to $1,000. Yet in the proposal, there's no mention of the fine or anything else.
No, that's what the highest fine is. Not every city has it up to that amount. But that's what the legislature they'd found out for me. It's up to $1,000. Okay, I didn't know that before.
But it's not included in this proposal.
I think it is, isn't it? In the beginning, look in the red. One vision it did have it in.
Well, we got a big committee. We might have to stretch it around.
There's no fine or any mention of any dollar
It was a sum. I thought I had $1,000 in there.
Is it this proposal?
On the very first page of the proposal, at the very bottom.
Is that not the summary of the proposal?
No, the summary is. See, I'm taking off that provision. I'm taking off the penalty. I want the penalty to be removed. See, so that there would be no penalty if it's on or over the line a little bit. But if the space, now it would be up to the legislator that adopts it, how it is, whether it's taken up or how they would write it up. See, when the legislators get this, they sometimes take the proposal and then they write them to the where they want them to be.
Any other questions?
Phyllis, you have 5 minutes.
Yeah.
5 more minutes.
I do. Okay, thank you. John, if you find any answers, just shop in with me. What is it, please?
My question is, how do you propose to pay for this? And who should...
There is no other than taking off fines, that's all. There's nothing else to it. Because
if you're widening the parking places...
they're already 10 feet. Some of them are 8 feet, some of them are 9 feet, some of them are 10 feet. All we're doing is standardize them. That's what. So there are some that are 10 feet already. I got out and measured them, so with my aid. Okay. There's no standardization. That's what I'm trying to say. Different cities can cause different amounts. I think that's what has the problem. What is it?
Well, my concern is the widening of a parking place.
Yeah.
And what you're saying is there's no standard?
That is right. There are standards as far as the cities go. They put their own standards in. They have a flexibility there. I looked up the law. In fact, I gave the law to one of the senators. He's over in the transportation. I looked it up at the law library, and there's nothing as a standard amount of feet.
Okay, because the concern, aside from the cost of making them standard.
There's no cost, unless you're talking about the 2 feet or so that they already have. But every city puts the width of the, then you would have to go into the code enforcement and everything else in every city.
Well, for example, when these parking places are allocated, they're allocated to, let's say, respond to the needs of that particular business section or duty. If they can vary them all over the place, I don't know. But there'd be a strong resistance to making those wider and cutting down the quantity of parking.
Well, that's up to the city code to do that. If they wanted...
I'm referring to.
Yeah. The city code has 10 feet already in some places. They don't make them remark them if they're an old parking lot. Besides that, it'll be up to the legislature as to how they handle that.
Are you saying that there are many of these parking places that are not up to the city code?
There are some, but I want to make sure that the new ones that are coming in are 10 feet for everybody. That's it.
Not to modify the old ones.
No, not to modify the old one. Besides, that would be up to the legislator to do these details.
Okay.
That's not up to me. I want to make it so that they will help the people, help the handicapped, make it easier. Right now, there's a big fine involved. Okay.
Okay, very quickly, then you're saying, and I'm seeing, I don't really approve of modifying the parking places, but the penalties should certainly be absolved. Okay.
Well, I want them taken off entirely. Okay, what is it? Because I think they're way too high. What is it? You're next.
Yeah, I'm concerned about about modifying parking places because the cities allocate the number of spaces to the businesses.
Yes.
And
okay, how about this? The new lots in Riverside are 10 feet. Okay, now are they all over 10 feet? I don't know.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is if you're going to put this in state law, you need language in there that is going to override city zoning. Because if the changes in the parking are such that you lose a parking space or two for a particular area, then
okay,
so this thing has to get factored in.
Okay, the thing of it is that people have always objected on that point to increase parking. A lot of people didn't even want parking for the handicapped.
I know.
So, I mean, that what we're doing is something that the handicapped needs. And I've made a survey. I went to the Office of Aging. I asked them. They took a vote on it. This was before a new member was a part of it. And they said they absolutely need it because there's too many people getting in trouble and too many people getting fined. Okay? All right?
Okay. Okay, one more question, then we're going to have roll call.
I don't have a problem with you standardizing a width. I think it's probably a good idea to standardize a width to 10 feet or whatever, and the only one people are going to complain are going to be the developers who have to put that many, because they're going to have the same number, or they're just going to have a lot more space to parking. But
what they're complaining about is the landscaping, not the space of the.
Well, the size of the building and everything else. But anyway, I have a problem with you wanting to take the fine off. I mean, I can see, I'm sorry that you got the fine, but would you want to take the fine off if you've got somebody who comes in and is disregards the line and end up taking two places? And
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying if they're 10 feet, we wouldn't have to have a fine. If the legislature wants to put it over the line of that, I'm letting it in the bill, okay? I'm doing it both ways. It will be up to the legislature how they want to write this law. I want it big enough so they can do what they want to do.
Okay, I'm going to ask for a roll call of you voting yes or no on the acceptance of this proposal. Could we have the roll call?
Hutchinson?
Yes.
Yes.
Dahlgren?
Yes.
Hutchinson?
Did you say Hutcherson? Hartskin.
Oh, yes.
We can't hear you. That's the problem.
Can't hear.
Kerwin?
Yes.
Lacy?
Yes.
McGrath?
Yes.
Molinar?
Yes.
Purcell?
Yes.
Ryan?
Yes.
Saran?
Yeah, Saren.
Saran?
Yeah. Yes on the fine, no on the widening. So I guess I have to go yes.
South?
No.
Sullivan?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Yakavoni?
yes, Yakavone, thank you.
Yakavone?
Okay, that was AP 15, and the count was 15 ayes and 1 no.
I want to thank everybody, too, that voted for it.
I'm sorry?
I want to thank everybody that voted for it.
Okay. I think since David Segrist is here, we're going to hear his proposal next, since you're a part of the committee and he has to go back with his committee. Yeah.
What number is that?
That will be
AP 9, and it's on page 77.
AP 9 on page 77.
I don't have any
What did you say?
Page 70.
AP 9 on page 77 on public transportation. 77. AP 9 on page 77.
And am I going to be applied? Are there going to be cards shown for like how much time I have left? How much time do I
He'll
have?
give you the time.
Yeah,
Okay,
you
so
have 10 minutes.
I have, okay, I won't use 10 minutes, I'm sure. Okay, public transportation. This morning you heard Lynn Doucher from the Department of Aging talk about this thing for public transportation. Well, lo and behold, I've done a lot of research on public transportation concerning busing. Walking here from the Holiday Inn to the Capitol building, I stopped and I noted that you can see a bus number posted, but no schedule there. You'll also see there's no fare schedule either. Now, why is this important? Well, it's not uniform in California. In Los Angeles County, you'll find the same thing. You can go to a bus stop. You don't know where it's going, when it's coming, when it's going to be coming back. You don't know how much it's going to cost you till you get on the bus. And guess what? If you get on the bus and the fare is 85 cents and you only have a $5 bill, you have to give a $5 bill because they do not give change. And bus riders are knowing this. And since the population that we're talking about, seniors, the baby boomers, is going to be increasing more and more. And as you know, many seniors are not driving their cars anymore because of cost or because of maybe not even wanting to, or problems with their eyesight and so on. We need to actually make public transportation truly public and available. And here's an example. Los Angeles County, you go to the Union Station, you walk outside, you'll see a yellow bus come by called the Silver Line. It goes to many places. You don't know where it's going because there's nothing posted. If you get on the Silver Line and you're a senior and you ask for the senior discount, it's 85 cents up until around 1 o'clock. Then it's $1.15 after that. If you don't ask for the senior fare, and many of the bus drivers do not volunteer this, you'll be paying $2, maybe $2.50. If you get on the white and blue bus, which is about 30 feet away from where the Silver Line comes, you got to pay $2.50, even though that bus goes to the same place that the yellow bus goes to. So the whole point of this is I really believe that to really serve the public, specifically everybody, and seniors now more and more are going to need public transportation. We need to make sure that bus schedules are available and the routes are available and the fares are posted so you know before you get on the bus where you're going and how to get back. I didn't even address the problem of seating. You'll find many bus stops, there are no seats there, no benches. So if you're a senior out there, you may have to stand for a long time before the bus ever comes. And there are certain times, by the way, when the bus doesn't even come, maybe on a Saturday or a Sunday, or the hours are special, but you don't know this. And then people tell me, well, just phone in and find out. Well, I've tried that, and I've been on those tapes, and I've gone to tape 1, tape 2, tape 3, tape 4, and I press the wrong button. I got to go back to tape 1 again, and the whole process. What I'm saying is public transportation in this state, from what I've seen, is not friendly in most areas. San Jose is, by the way. I was up there about 2 weeks ago in San Jose. They post the schedules. You know where the buses are going. You know when they're coming back. But even there, the fares are not posted. And it's really a disservice, especially when they're saying we want to cut down smog in California, get out there and use public transportation. Well, too many times you may try to use it, and if you have a really bad problem, you will never use it again. I do participate in LA County with a thing called Seniors on the Move. We do a thing once a month in some areas where we actually take seniors, we take them by the hand. I did get shanghaied twice, by the way, to get on the bus. I thought I was going to help seniors board the bus. I didn't know I was going with them. I did, and it was a great experience. Many of the seniors were receptive. And the question they asked when they came back was, okay, You told us how to get to where the Metrolink is, how to use the subway. What about local bus transportation? And many of them had tried it, and they said they weren't going to do it again because it was a very bad experience. So in closing, I hope that you'll promoting this, approving this proposed legislation proposal, because we deserve this, and especially seniors, because buses are going to be more and more used by our population. And by the way, I forgot to mention, many seniors now, as you well know, because of the taxes and so on, are going back to work. Bus transportation can help them get back to work if they know how to use the bus transportation. So I'm finished. Thank you. If you have any questions, go ahead.
Anybody with questions?
Well, I just want to make a comment.
Sure.
I think what you're trying to do is wonderful. I think that there is different programs in each area, and like many of our bills, we're trying to fill a gap and make it more universal.
That's what I'm asking for, is universality throughout the state.
I applaud you
Thank
for
you.
your effort. Some of it, because of funding, may not happen tomorrow, but it certainly, they could make their 211, which is in the Bay Area, more say more than it does, and that's what you're asking for throughout the state.
And actually, the funding was, it came to mind also about funding. If you get on those buses, if you're successful enough to be able to get on there and negotiate your fare and the rest, many times there are bus schedules there, and many times they're not even there. They're all gone. So as far as funding it, I think that if they even added maybe a 2-cent charge or something on each fare, they might be able to pay for itself that way. And I think the increased ridership would probably help support this too. So thank you.
Madam Chairman, I have a question of the gentleman. I'm sorry, your name first?
David Segrist.
David.
Yes.
David. David, why do you think fares are not published?
Why are they not published?
Not published.
I've never thought of why. I know they're not. They're not out there. In fact, even if you look in the schedules that you get on the bus.
Do you think it's possible that because fares will fluctuate?
They tend not to. Over the couple of years that I've been, doing my own experiment and firsthand practicing, and even if they did, it wouldn't be that hard to change it. If you came up with like a single 8.5 by 11 paper that was printed, just go out and have a holder, and just change it periodically. And bus drivers, I think it would be obviously it's a good question. Why aren't they posted? And they don't seem to fluctuate that much. Changes over the years have been maybe once every 2 or 3 years they increase by 15 cents or 20 cents. But that's a real good question. I hadn't thought about why they aren't posted. I know they're not.
Probably because they change.
Not from what I've seen. They don't change that
The
much.
schedules may change.
Well, and if they put the schedule with the fare, you know what you're getting. I'm just so concerned about seniors that I have seen, and not just seniors, but students going to Cal State LA or going to Cal Poly. They get on the bus and they don't have the correct change, so they got to give everything. And then there's this mad scramble, by the way, on the bus. Many times, somebody holds up a $5 bill as the bus driver is driving down the road, going, "Does anybody have change for a $5 bill?" I think it's just not very positive to promote public transportation this way.
Do you have an estimate on the cost that would incur?
I have no idea what it would cost to do it.
Yes.
Yes, as a representative of 5 rural counties, all of which have transit districts that are cutting service and no money, I cannot support this unless you will put together a proposal that also gives a potential revenue service that would be guaranteed to provide this service.
If you added a small, maybe 5-cent charge per fare across the state of California, I believe it would pay for itself. You're not asking very much, just a single piece of paper on a poster out there, which also includes the schedule. I think it would fund itself based on the increased ridership too.
That would be fine if you want to modify your resolution to put that nickel as a state assessment.
I would.
We can't do it as a local level.
Because this would be a state proposal. Okay.
Okay. If there are no other, yeah.
So
Okay.
You're proposing amending and adding. I would accept that.
Isn't it put a 5-cent charge?
I would accept that. Yes, I would.
Through the state?
Yes, I think if
So
like you're saying, you
are
couldn't.
you suggesting that as an amendment?
Yeah, he's suggesting an amendment, and I would accept that friendly amendment
Is
to
this
it.
author's amendment?
Yes.
Okay.
I would.
Then we're going to ask Ledge Council if you would write up the amendment for us
Sure.
and then we'll listen to.
Oh, Madam Chairman, may I comment before?
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah.
Before you do that, I think there is I'd like to just offer that I think that what David is proposing would result in such an incremental increase in the use of public transportation that it would easily pay for itself to do what he's asking be done. I'd just like to put that thought out there.
You may be right, but
You
from
think
the,
would pay
from
for
the
itself?
transit I'm sorry, excuse me.
I was just clarifying what his remarks were. Are you saying that you think it would pay for itself by the increased ridership based on the convenience?
Exactly.
Okay, it's very possible. May I respond?
Yes.
It's very possible that you're right, but I know that my transit districts are going to go ballistic if they think they have to fund it locally. But I suspect you would get my local transit districts to support it with their legislator if they saw it as a minimal revenue stream dedicated to improving their service.
I wondered if you might say, if necessary, if you find it necessary, that this could be a way that it could be paid for.
I was thinking, I liked what you said, Assemblyman Molnar, but also Assemblyman Ryan. I think Assemblyman Ryan is on target. If you scare these people away like, oh my God, now we're going to have to pay for this, they're going to say no. And I think that if you put the 5-cent charge in and say, well, once it gets going, if it's in place and it's working, then might, even if the incremental increase in the ridership would pay for itself, then take the 5 cents away. It could be done that way too. But I think initially, I think it would really be necessary to say it will be self-funded.
Okay, Purcell.
I don't know, but Riverside, they have it. In the Valley, they have it, because I've taken the buses myself there. See, I was a year and a half. I couldn't drive.
Phyllis, please use your mic.
I have taken buses in Moreno Valley and Riverside, and they already have them marked on there. What happened is that they took the bus stop away from me. And all of us in the neighborhood got mad, called them, and they put it back on. Now that's what, no, we have it, all the things. Now, the true thing is that when they come by you, and they don't have room on your bus, they'll just pass you up. Because I live a block away from it, so that's the bad part.
Okay, I'm going to call for the amendment at this point.
Let me just clarify that the intent of the amendment is that the required
Could you use your mic, please?
Sure. The amendment be that the required posting may be funded by a surcharge of 5 cents on each transit fare, or shall be funded. Do you want to require that or authorize it? It wasn't clear.
I would say shall be, because without shall be, it's like, oh, we're going to pay for it. So I think shall be would be stronger.
And it's a mandatory increase.
Yes, I would think that would be better. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, then we need to vote on the amendment first, and then we'll vote on the.
Madam Chair, may I suggest a modification to that amendment?
It's the author's amendment.
Yeah, I know, but I'm asking the author. Would you be willing to put language in that dedicates this 5 cents to this proposal?
Definitely dedicated to support this.
To information distribution.
Yes.
Because if there's one thing that is really missing for transit all over, it's information.
Okay.
Madam Chairman, could I offer a suggestion to that amendment too? I don't think it reads now, and we did briefly discuss, if necessary.
Yeah, but who will make the determination? That leaves it open. Let's let the legislature play with that one. But if that's what it takes to get your vote, I might be willing to go. Well, that's up to the author.
What was your preference?
Well, my preference is to say shall be a 5% charge, because if it's like left up to the future, or maybe it won't happen. And I can just imagine many of the people like Metrolink and Rapid Transit and all these people are going to oppose this, because they're going to say, how can we pay for it?
Okay,
right.
Then I'm going to call for the roll call on the amendment. Would you read the amendment one more time?
Yes. Now the first resolved clause will read as follows. Resolved by the senior...
Microphone, please.
Sure. All right. Hereby proposes that public bus transportation operators be required to post current bus schedules, routes, and fares at each bus stop, and that the information distribution shall be funded by a charge of 5 cents on each transit fare. Is that correct?
Yes.
Roll call.
Hutchinson?
No.
Yes.
Dahlgren?
This is the amendment.
This is the amendment.
Oh, the amendment.
Yes.
Yes. Dahlgren is yes. Hartson?
Yes.
Kerwin?
Yes.
I don't like that.
Lacy?
Yes.
McGrath?
Yes.
Molnar?
Yes.
Purcell?
Yes.
Ryan?
Yes.
Sarin?
Yes.
Stout?
No.
Sullivan?
Yes.
White? No. Yakavon?
No.
Wilson?
No.
So I have 11 ayes and yeses and 5 noes.
There were 11 yeses and 5 noes. Is that everybody? Did everybody vote? Okay, so then it passed. So now we'll vote on it with the amendment.
This was the amendment.
With the amendment. So now we're voting on it as amended.
This was voted as amended.
No, we have
No,
to vote.
we have to.
That was the amendment. Just call the roll again, and then we'll have it.
Hutchinson?
Yes.
Block?
Yes.
Dahlgren?
Yes.
Hartson?
Yes. Archie.
Hudson? Kerwin?
Yes.
Lacy?
Yes.
McGrath?
Yes.
Molnar?
Yes.
Purcell?
Yes.
Ryan?
Yes.
Sarin?
Yes.
Stout?
Yes.
Sullivan?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Yakavon?
Yes.
Wilson?
Yes.
So that is 16.
Thank you, Mr. Segrist. You have unanimous consent.
Thank you, everybody, and I really appreciate the insight and those ideas about what were the things that were left out. And now I'm going to go back and find out why don't they tell
Okay.
people the fair.
We're
Thank you.
going to, the next will be AP 12, and then AP 13 will be the next two that we hear. And your question?
My question is,
Use your microphone, please.
Since it passed, because there's an amendment on there, will that go through on the consent calendar or
Yes, it
not?
will.
Yeah.
It was unanimous, so it goes on the
Yes, but-
consent calendar as
But
amended.
what about all the other people that read it as it was and now it's amended? Won't that be amended in session and won't it then not be on the consent calendar?
You can't amend it on the floor.
Well, it'll be on there. Oh, okay. So you're saying that it will go on consent?
No, I don't think it does.
No.
I got the rule.
Well, if it was a unanimous vote,
But it was amended.
But it was amended, so it wasn't like,
do pass as amended.
Ask council.
Do pass as amended.
Madam Chairman, my understanding is that it's amended here in the committee. If it's voted on unanimously, it will go on the consent calendar.
If it's any difference, I'll let you know, but that is my understanding. That's the way it's always been done in the past. I make the decision.
Number
on
4
this.
apparently
Yes.
pertains to this.
If there was no votes, so that means that it's a unanimous vote. That puts it on the consent calendar. Yes.
The amendment puts it on the calendar. I mean, we have to vote on
Pass as amended.
separately. It cannot go on the consent calendar.
I'll have to research
because it's
that.
been amended.
I'll have to research.
It's number,
Okay.
it's number
Legislative
4.
rules number
Our
4.
legislative rule number 4 says,
Read that.
only proposals which have the unanimous vote, no dissenting votes of the committee, and have not been amended may be
not been
placed on the consent calendar.
So then we'll do pass as amended. Okay. Okay.
So what's final?
Do pass as amended. That would be the determination. Because they have to remove the present bill, a proposal that they have from their book, and replace it with this one. When she sends it in tomorrow, it will go in with the amendment. They will have to remove the present proposal from their book and replace it with this amended proposal. So you're correct. It will be do pass as amended. Okay. I guess we can move on to the next proposal. Ms. Purcell?
Okay,
Let's see.
thank you, yes.
Which is your next one?
That would be page 97, and I think it's,
AP 17?
yes.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
you said proposal
The
number
author is
12.
not
He's
here.
right here.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know.
Okay, you take him first.
Okay. I didn't realize you were on our committee. I'm sorry. It's a big committee. Okay.
What-
Then we'll hear yours next.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
that's okay.
Okay. And you're AP 12. Very good. AP 12, I'll accept the motion to hear AP 12, Senior Veterans Benefits. Second.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we hear AP 12, Senior Veterans Benefits, on page 81.
Okay. I'm on. First, I'd like to clarify to the group that this is a Cal Vet proposal that we're entertaining. The target group is homeless senior veterans. It will cover other veterans as well. Okay. Now, the objective is to raise awareness and priority access, okay, to rental housing options and pension entitlements available to California's homeless and other seniors. Now, when I say entitlements, there is a pension entitlements for a total disability, okay, and other forms of disability, but the age 65 is considered to be a total disability, regardless of the inference, okay. So the laws are in place to honor a pension as distinct from a retirement income, okay. All right. That entertains, okay, getting homeless people, homeless veterans 65 years and older off the streets. That's what we're trying to do. It's been verified that it costs more to put a homeless person in one of the shelters or assemblies. It costs the government more than it does to rent a single apartment residence or a two-bedroom apartment residence for that veteran. Okay. The qualifications are that you will have served at least one day during wartime service, and you will have had roughly 90 days of service as a veteran. Okay. Also, there are a threshold which you shall not cross, $1 threshold, which says, in effect, that roughly $12,000 a year is the threshold you cannot cross over to receive this benefit. And against that, you count the family income or of that particular veteran. The difference is then paid to the 65 retired veteran as a payment of that money to be used by him. Okay. Now, this is a win-win situation. The objectives of the Department of Veterans Affairs is to get the homeless veterans off the streets by within 5 years. Okay. There are programs in place that do this. For example, there's a VASH program, which is a Veterans Assistance Program, to do that. There's funding there, okay, already in place. If we don't do something about this homeless veteran situation, we're really dishonoring them, in my opinion. Okay, they deserve to have some form of recovery, okay, to society. If they don't, if some, as we all know, some veterans don't want to be other than homeless. And some veterans, in effect, don't like the societal contact that they may have to have by sharing an apartment or having an apartment of their own. But that's very few. What we're after here, I'm after here, is to get a knowledge on the streets by the federal government and the state government that these, call it awards, are available to them so that they can evaluate what they would like to do. There's a general sort of like unawareness of many of the veterans programs that has to be cured, okay? Now, I can give you specifics. For example, we're aiming at World War II veterans, Korea veterans, and Vietnam veterans. They're turning 65, and they will meet this criteria. Okay. So, you know, they're coming of age, and having that knowledge out to them is very, very important. Okay. Now, how do we do this? Okay, we get our target group. We get the state to approve the CalVet program, which entertains merging these pension benefits into a home study program. I mean, a home, let's call it occupancy program, under Section 8 HUD, so that they get a priority voucher to get a separate apartment, funded by, hopefully, you know, their difference in income versus the threshold. Now, veterans, you might say, okay, if you're a veteran, you had Social Security, you already have $12,000 a year. Not so, because veterans weren't paying into the Social Security fund until 1957. They were only allowed an allowance earned of $180 a month to credit them for that particular award. Okay. Now, I don't know if you want to do the math, but if you were 18 when you went into World War II or you went into Korea, you're now 65. You're looking at one. Okay. I'm a veteran of Korea, and I'm past 65. Can I apply for this? No, because my income, thank goodness, is above the threshold. But there are so many out there that have no knowledge of and have no real income other than Social Security, if they have that. So we've got to take care of these veterans. Okay.
You have a question? Yes.
Point of clarification, what is your definition of war? Are you technically using the act of Congress declaring war, or the president sending troops to some place? Because the Korean conflict, as you have it listed, is not a war.
I fully
technically.
Yes, I fully understand that. And however, the Department of Veterans Affairs considers Korea and Vietnam in the entitlements that I'm talking about.
Yes.
I'm concerned about the Title 8 program because already we have a 10-year waiting list for Section 8 programs.
Right.
We don't have any space for the veterans.
Okay, may I respond to that? Okay. No, that's true. The waiting lists on Section 8 are done by a lottery system or, you know, whatever the draw may be, and by a waiting system. Okay, the VASH program, which is the assistance to veterans that has been funded at roughly $300 million or so, puts a priority award of a housing voucher. Okay, now let's say very quickly, I want to take your answer because HUD is tied into this, obviously. Okay, under a HUD program, you pay roughly 80% of your income. I'm sorry, the government pays 80% of your income and you pay 20. Okay, so let's say we have a veteran now on the streets who maybe gets $2,000 a year from Social Security because he hadn't paid into it during World War II or Korea. Okay, and he has other, say, food stamps, which incidentally is under contention now as to whether that should be used to evaluate a threshold. Okay, and he has, say, $7,000 of family income, quote. Okay, the threshold is 12, which means he has $5,000 to spend on other issues, such as paying his share of the HUD Section 8 award. Okay, so yes, he'd have to have, and this part of this proposal is to give him a priority status, such as the VASH program does on the Section 8 vouchers available, a set-aside group of vouchers, and that's what they've done.
Mr. Sarin, you're very eloquent. I was prepared to vote against this, but by the way, if you were 17 in 1945, you are 83 today.
Yes.
And I got my first 2 years of college through the Calvet educational program. The fact that you've acknowledged that some of these veterans are there for mental and other reasons, I can't think of the proper language, but you were trying to help the homeless who want to be helped is the way I word it. I'm prepared to vote yes because we have to do something to help those who are willing to be helped to get off the streets.
I thank you for that comment, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
I think it's important.
He was next. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
My name's Tom Lacey, and am I assuming correctly that I was a World War II veteran, I was 17, and also Korea, and also the Greek Revolution in '49, another war, and the Cold War. So I get my Social Security, and I also get a retirement from Boeing North American, so I would not be entitled. Is that correct?
Well, assuming your Social Security puts you over an income level of, say, $11,000, and you're a single person, that would be correct.
Plus my Boeing retirement.
Yes. Yeah, well, you're in the same boat I am. I have a retirement on.
And I'll be 82 on the 1st of this month, the 1st of November.
Good, sir.
Okay.
We thank you for your service, and we hope that we can do better for all of those others. Thank you.
I feel better if you didn't have that one day in there.
Use your mic, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'd feel better if you didn't have that one day in there and just had that they served in the service, because there's a lot of veterans that have served but hadn't served in that war period. And sometimes the war period or whatever is very limited. And I went to one of these, remember, were you at that one that he talked? No, it was the CRTA that had the talk. There was somebody from the Veterans Administration was explaining that those periods are very short. And if the person served before or afterwards, they weren't counted, even though they had served the same amount of time and was in the same amount of danger. So what I would suggest, that's up to me, up to you, excuse me, is to take out that one day. And I know it's being generous having one day, because there's a whole thing about that 1 day or 2 days or 3 days. And I think we should do what we can for our veterans. And there are many out there that have suffered.
Questions, folks. Mr.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry, we just got to move on.
Okay.
Make your questions as brief as possible.
Okay.
I want to respond to that, of course. The requirements are that you be, other than dishonorably discharged, in other words, you have to have a clean discharge. You have to have that 1 day during a period of, call it conflict or war, or whatever, they've both been warranted, okay, during that period. Now, for example, the Korea War lasted roughly 6 years, okay? Okay, the World War II was roughly 4, off and on, okay? And the Vietnam War now has been going on for 8, went on for 8, or conflict. So that rule, that one-day rule, is that you had to have put in a day during that period.
That's the VA rule, is that correct?
That's the VA rule, and that's the
terminology from the Veterans Administration.
correct, and that's the basis upon which you receive this pension payment, and you must be 65.
Okay, Mr. Ryan.
Yes, do I understand that you are essentially reallocating money from other existing programs to this, what will be a new program? What happens to the money that CalVet is already spending on the existing programs if that goes? Or what happens to those programs if the money is moved?
Okay. First, to answer your question, it fits within the definition of the VASH program, which is supplemental. And the money, I'm sorry to report this, but that money was available roughly almost 2 years ago. And there's such a difficulty in administering the VASH programs among the veterans areas that it doesn't get out, okay? And it's still there, most of it, okay? And it would not require a separate program. It would fall under these programs that are already in place, okay? I might add one last comment, if I may, okay? I want to emphasize that the cost to the federal government for putting people in shelters and temporary residence is higher than putting them in an apartment. I can show you the study on that was conducted. I also am the author of a proposal that allowed a shared two-bedroom apartment at a reduced cost to the veteran and the government. So if two veterans, if you will, on the street agree to go together, and most of them have buddies, okay, you end up saving even more for the federal government and the veteran. The cost, the veteran's portion drops from 30% to 20%, okay, and the cost of, let's say, a two-bedroom unit is $1,400 versus $900 for a single, which if you take two singles, you get $1,800, so you're saving $400.
My question is this all shared housing, or is any of it for individual housing?
Yeah, it would be for individual. If there were a subsequent agreement to go to a two-bedroom, okay, then they could do that. And that was the bill signed by the governor.
Any other questions? If not, I'll ask for a roll call. Roll call.
Hutchinson?
Yes.
Block?
Yes.
Dahlgren?
Yes.
Hutchinson?
Yes. Hartsken.
Hartson?
Yes.
Kerwin?
Yes.
Lacy?
Yes.
McGrath?
Yes.
Molnar?
Yes.
Purcell?
Yes.
Ryan?
Yes.
Saran?
Yes, of course.
Stout?
Yes.
Sullivan?
Yes.
White? Yes. Nakavon?
Yes.
Wilson?
Yes.
15 ayes, no noes.
Thank you very much.
I want to thank the
Go on
committee.
the consent
I'm very pleased that you have approved this, and I hope we can get it into play. Thank you.
Okay. Our next proposal,
We have, I think, Rolf here.
Rolf. Okay. That will be AP 13, mileage tax deduction on page 85. Welcome, Ms. Rolf.
Thank you.
A motion to hear this
I
proposal?
make the motion.
It's moved and seconded that we hear AP 13, mileage tax deduction, page 85.
Okay, this proposal is to give a minimal tax relief to seniors who volunteer. Currently, the federal deduction for volunteer mileage is only 14 cents per mile, and it's been that since the 1980s. The allowable tax deduction for business is 50 cents a mile, which still doesn't cover the cost, but at least it's more reasonable. This deduction would ask this proposal would ask California to implement income tax deduction that could be taken on the California income tax that is the difference between what the federal allowable amount is for volunteer and what the federal allowable amount is for business. Currently, there have been just about between 10 and 15 bills that have not made it through the federal process to increase the volunteer tax deduction for the federal. So sooner or later they are going to do that. And the way I've written this proposal is if the feds increase their allowable deduction, then what is allowable for California will go down. And if they ever actually make it to the full 50 cents for volunteers, California would have no deduction and would have no loss of income taxes. There are studies that tell us that the cost or the price, the value of volunteer services in California is nearly $23 an hour. Studies that tell us that seniors are very likely to volunteer, but the one thing, the biggest barrier to them volunteering is transportation and mileage and the cost of that. We all know that many seniors are on limited income. Cost of gas is just, going up every month, it seems. This would be an incentive, would be implemented as an incentive to get seniors to volunteer. It's my belief that this large block of seniors is part of the solution to so many of the problems, that the reduced funding for human services, social services. We can make a difference if we're encouraged and if we get a little bit of help to be able to do that. So I ask for your support on AB 13. And any questions that you have?
I have a comment. In Marin County, we're starting a volunteer drivers program, and I think this kind of bill will be helpful in making more people feel comfortable in volunteering their time to other members of the community that's elderly and is unable to drive.
Any other questions?
Question?
Yes.
Ms. Rolfe, I'm confused a bit. Are you just saying that we're bringing the level in the state up to the 50 cents in the federal? Wouldn't it be simpler just saying that?
Well, if the feds increase their volunteer maximum, then it would be, yes, it would be up to the 50 cents.
I would say, to modify it to some extent, to state that we would always reach the federal level. I thought you were trying to make the difference between 14 cents and 50 cents when I first read it. That's why I'm...
And that's true. Mm-hmm. That's what I am trying to do. I guess I'm thinking you're saying the same thing.
I don't know if I am or not now.
Any other questions? Yes.
TRIP program, Riverside County has a TRIP program. Not only do they pay, I think, 50 cents a mile, isn't that right? But they also pay the insurance on it. And there is a law that before you can volunteer to take, except for friends and family, if you take anybody else, you have to have insurance.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to turn over my insurance to my home instead, which is my agency. And they in turn have to, they can't put me in a car without having insurance. So there is a little bit of a thing, but you got that. I will vote for that because that will be a big thing, and let that other problem come up later on if that was a problem. Maybe the legislature would fill in that because they'd have to look at the law of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Question?
Yes. I can't see voting for something that will put further burden on our state revenues, which basically you're taking state money away from to equalize a federal situation. I would be happy to support this if you moved this as a federal issue that we should take to the full assembly.
Yeah, and the reason that I didn't make it a federal is that there have been and there are proposals, bills that are trying to work their way through the federal and have gotten nowhere. Our state, yeah. Pardon?
Is the senior legislature on record as supporting that for those federal bills?
That I don't know. And that's certainly a good suggestion. To address the issue of taking state money away, the money is going to be gone anyhow. There's not going to be the money. But we need people to be able to help us dig our way out of this hole. And it's people who volunteer, and the seniors have more time and willingness, not to mention the talent and the education and the patience and the perspective and all of that, to be able to help us dig our way out of this hole. This is just to encourage them to do so.
Any other questions? And I'll ask for roll call.
Is this on this 13?
Yes. Yes.
AP 13.
AP 13. Yes. Mileage tax deduction. No.
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, and I think it's a good bill.
Excuse me? Yeah. Could I change my vote? Yes. Yes, for Hartsgen.
Hartsgen it was a no. Would you make it a yes?
You didn't ask for my vote.
She hadn't finished. Jacobone was yes.
Yes.
You mean 15 yes? And 2 no's? There were 2 no's.
One.
I think your count is off. Our total is 16, so it had to be 14 and 2.
I have 14 to 2.
1 was changed, so it should be 14 and 2. You want to check that, make sure. You want to do your roll call again?
Yeah, I think I better do that.
Okay.
Okay, let's do Hutchinson.
No.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
That's correct, 14 and 2. Okay, now we heard the next AP 15, and the next one then is AP 17, and the one after that, well,
What about 14?
did I skip one?
Yeah, 14.
I thought that's what we, no.
No, we did 13.
We skipped it. Okay.
We did.
Okay,
There's
AP 14. On page 89, affordable housing, report of abuse. Ms. Rolfe.
Wait, you just want to make a motion?
Okay. Go ahead.
I make a motion that we hear.
AP. It's been moved and seconded that we hear ATP 14, affordable housing report of abuse on page 89.
89.
Okay, thank you. What this proposal does is it merely formalizes that affordable housing for seniors and people with disabilities be listed in the law as mandated reporters. Currently, the law is it can be interpreted either that this facility who have people who, are in and around seniors and folks with disabilities all the time. It can be interpreted that these facilities are in fact mandated reporters, but we have experienced situations where, because they are not actually listed in the list of mandated reporters, that they do not train their employees, that they will not take reports of abuse, that they are not stepping up to their responsibility to report abuse or neglect for vulnerable seniors or dependent adults. All this would do is change the law to make it absolutely explicit that affordable housing units that serve seniors and people with disabilities are mandated reporters. Then they would have to train their employees to be, in their responsibilities as a mandated reporter, and they would have to report either to the Adult Protective Services or the local law enforcement. It's just a clarification of the law to further strengthen protections for elders.
Questions? Yes.
It's on. It's on.
Can you?
Yeah. Can you hear me now? Okay. But this would not cover people that are just living in, may have a Section 8 voucher, but living in...
It doesn't address Section 8 vouchers. I'm looking at facilities that are designed for it.
Other questions? Nobody? Yes.
I understand that they're being mandated reporters. I'm searching here. Would they be trained, these employees, to be mandated reporters?
Once the law designates that this facility has to, that their employees are mandated reporters, then the owners, whoever it is that runs the facility would have to ensure that their employees were trained, that they were informed, that they are trained, and they would have to ensure that reports were put in.
So,
yes.
Are there not times when said managers, owners, are the abusers themselves?
Potentially, but if their employees had been trained that they have an individual responsibility to be a mandated reporter, they could anonymously report.
Anonymously?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, Peter.
Now, are you considering affordable housing such as HUD buildings, things of that nature?
Yes.
Which are supposedly set up as independent living. I don't see the I'm not in favor of your bill because I don't see the correlation when we're talking about independent living for affordable housing.
You do get dependent adults and you do get seniors who are vulnerable even in the independent living. When you have people who are, and these are housing units, usually apartment buildings or, very closely. And there are people who are there working around and even with sometimes the residents. So.
I'm still not satisfied with your answer.
Okay, let me just see if I can clarify a little bit more. I was a mediator for 27 years for the County of Marin, and I saw abuses in, how do you say it, not assisted living, but in houses owned by churches and as well as by individuals that had affordable housing for seniors. And neighbors also were abusing one another. So that something like this would be helpful in that kind of facility. It doesn't answer everything, because I asked about someone who's living in, Mr. Jones he's the only senior living in a building. It doesn't cover that person, but it does cover a multitude of situations where there may be abuse. And most of the abuse that I saw in the 27 years I was a mediator was with family members. So.
With who?
Family members.
Would the reporting agency be Fair Housing? Is that?
I'm sorry.
Would the reporting agency be Fair Housing? Who's the reporter? I mean, who are they to be reporting to?
Mandated reporters must report to either the County Adult Protective Services or the local law enforcement.
On housing?
In housing, when people are living in independent housing.
Okay, I have reported a couple to the Social Service Department, and they told me to call Fair Housing. So that's...
And this is exactly what this bill is designed to do, is to say, yes, you are a housing unit, you are in business to do housing, but because of the population you serve, your employees and you as an owner are mandated reporters. They really are. I mean, I've talked to a couple of DAs.
Yeah, who they're reporting to. And you say the Social Service Department, is that it? Then it should be stated in there, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. But I think the report.
Well, the actual law already states who they're supposed to. All they have to be is named to a mandated reporter, and then the text of the law tells the owner how they have to train, what they have to do, and it tells the mandated reporters what they have to do and who they have to report to. So that is already in the law. I'm not proposing to change that. I'm just saying we're making this type of housing specifically explicit as mandated reporters in the law.
Any other? Go ahead.
Yes, is this possible? Have you calculated the cost to the residents, the number of residences that would be affected?
Well, the cost would be, I haven't calculated it because it'd be pretty hard. I don't know how many employees they have. But the cost would be what it costs to give a printed brochure and a piece of paper where the person signs off that they know that they are a mandated reporter. So I'm thinking it will be minimal. And that wouldn't be to the state, it would be to the employer.
To the employer.
Right.
Would this deter a facility from wanting to be serving the seniors?
I don't know. I doubt it, but I don't know.
I didn't hear the question.
I was asking if it would defer, it would cause residents to not want to serve the seniors, which were desperately in need of residential housing for seniors. Would it detract from wanting to have the housing for seniors?
Well,
reporting abuse.
Yeah. It's hard to say, but my thinking is that if they're interested in going into the business of serving seniors, they're going to know so that there are some attendant risks to that, and that they might have some responsibilities with regard to it as well.
Yes.
Banks serve more than just seniors, and they're mandated reporters for abuse. So I like the idea of closing the gap where we can.
It's a good analogy. Thank you.
Yes, Peter.
Yes, I'm changing my mind. But in answer to all this money question, on a federal HUD building, the tenant only pays 30% of their reported income, and then the difference is made up by a federal subsidy, which is called Section 8, but it's totally different than the Section 8 you get at the city level. So the excess money that I think you were talking about, the extra charge, is loaded into the overhead expense, which is then billed, which is then paid the difference by the federal government.
Okay, thank you.
That's probably right.
Okay.
I thought it out a little more. I've changed my mind.
If there are no other questions, I'm going to have the roll call. Yes, I'm sorry.
My cohort and I were trying to determine whether there is a mandated training for these employees.
It's not specific. In the law, it doesn't say specifically. All it says is that the employer is responsible for training their employees as to their responsibility as a mandated reporter.
So there's no certification, for example?
No, no. For the employer's safety, they should probably have someone sign off that they've been trained, but they don't even have to do that.
Would you be interested in making that part of your proposal, or do you think that would screw it up?
That there be a certification? Well, that probably then would incorporate everybody else who's covered under this law as well. I'm not sure that that complexity would be as easy to get through.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, we'll have the roll call.
And this is on AP 14.
Yes.
Where are we?
Yeah.
14. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. He left.
We still have a quorum.
Yes.
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 Did I get it right this time?
I feel neglected.
Did she call your name?
No?
I didn't call your name. You know, I had him tell me your name.
Lacey.
She can't see it.
You're right. Okay. I did call McGrath, right?
Yes.
Okay. Lacey?
Yes.
Okay. So we should have
Go in a corner and cry.
15 and 1, I think. Molnar. We just need the number of yeses and nos. It should be 15 and, it should be 14 and 1. Yeah, 14 and 1. Yeah. Okay. The next proposal is AP. We heard AP 17, didn't we?
No, we didn't.
We have not have.
Two, and then someone came in.
Okay, so 17 should be next then.
Yeah.
And then after that, we'll take them in order, Ms. Mead, from there on. The next one will be 19, then 39, 43, 44, and 46. Just in the order as they are listed. I'm sorry?
We heard that.
We already got that.
Yeah.
We did that one.
Did they?
That was the first one we did. Yes. 17, right. And then the others in order.
It will pass, right?
Okay, Ms. Purcell.
Does a motion have to be made first?
Okay.
18, 17, 97.
So moved and seconded to hear AP 17
Okay.
on page 90. Oh, I'm sorry. On page 101, AP 19, tenant emergency. No, wait a minute.
Transportation.
Confused for me. I'm confused.
AP 17 on page 97.
Yes.
That's what we're going to hear.
That's right.
Transportation for seniors.
That's
Where
right.
there's parking spaces with and available. I guess I thought I already heard.
Yeah, because you had said at the beginning you'd hear my two.
Yeah.
And somebody else came from another committee.
Okay. Okay,
and
we'll do
and
17
then
next.
somebody else said theirs.
You're on.
That's okay. That's all right. That's all right. This one deals with transportation costs. And it seems like last year, if you can remember, it was low or free transportation. But now, so many seniors are, Riverside put it down 1/3 of the cost. The city of Riverside did. And they lowered it. But the thing of it is, it's still too expensive for seniors, because they're trying to find it. I have talked to a number of people, and they are having a hard time paying. And you heard it this morning in the speech. And so I put this in free transportation along with the legislative aid. We decided that people need this help very, very, very much. And the cost of this, I had suggested, but it's not definite. I know there was objections about adding it onto the license. Now, I think I even took that out. That would be up to the legislature to have this additional $3 on every new and renewed license. Now that's 4 to 5 years. $3 in 5 years isn't going to kill anybody, and so they're absolutely needed. Here, this shows you that redefined poverty. People that are getting $1,200, $1,400 a month in the Los Angeles and Riverside area did not have enough to eat. They're coming to different organizations like St. Vincent de Paul that I used to help. We went out of business because we didn't have the funding. The rents are continually going up.
Madam Chair, I may suggest put on your microphone.
Oh, I'm sorry again.
It's on.
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. This deals with, last year I had low or free $100. We lowered it in Riverside and still isn't enough. I'm getting all kinds of complaints I was in with St. Vincent de Paul. We had to discontinue giving out food because we weren't getting enough in. So, you know, the poverty level is very low compared to their needs. And rent is going up in Riverside because there's people are moving from L.A. to Riverside because the rent in L.A. in homes are $700-800 a month. And this will give you, and the cost of living is in here. And it's just astronomical, the amount of rent that people are paying. So that relieves into transportation. If they do find a place, they can't go anywhere. I have lobbied in Riverside at the council meetings, and so have other people. We're known as the Dirty Dozen in the Riverside. And so for lower transportation, we got it lowered 1/3. But we do need free transportation for seniors. The students at UCR, Cal State, well, it's Cal State San Bernardino because they're not in Riverside, but CBS, that's California School of the Deaf. The, what else is it? The Baptist College in Loma Linda, the Advent College, the students there are getting free transportation. So is here okay. And I am going to turn it over to my two co-authors now. Alan Hurst took the place for long, and I want John Kerwin to be a member too. Basically, this is all I have. I've got proof of it. They're really, really suffering, those people, and I don't have to add any more. Okay, John, do you want to try it? And then Alan. Timer, give them equal time, please.
5 minutes.
More than likely, this is a bad time, really, to have to bring this to the table. But anyway, we have proposed this over the last few years, and we've kept changing it, because of others that felt that it was either too much or it wasn't enough or whatever. Anyway, for the 4 years that I've been working on this with Phyllis, we have gone through some different changes, such as our budgets being cut way back and so forth. In the city that I represent and in the county that I represent, in the city that I come from, why they have cut back on senior transportation quite a bit. They used to get $17,000 from federal funds, which was administered through FMAAA of Fresno Madera County. This past year, or this year, they received no funds from the federal government due to the fact that it would have cost them more for the paperwork than they were getting in funds. They were only going to get $1,000 this year, and it would have cost them more for the paperwork than it was worth, so they didn't even apply. My understanding, and I don't know how true this is, but my understanding is that some of these funds went to senior programs for nutritional purposes, such as homebound meals. The city and the county have cut back the funds quite a bit. Our city runs a senior bus from 8 in the morning to 4 in the afternoon, 4 days a week. So if you're a senior and you live in senior housing in one side of the city, and you need to get to the grocery store on Friday, forget about it, because they're not working Friday. Don't know what the total answer is, but this is, I think, the best proposal we can possibly come up with on how to fund senior busing. I know not all cities have busing like Riverside or Chowchilla or the Central Valley. In some places in the Central Valley, such as Merced, they have a good bus system. In other places, they don't. And in
1 minute.
Yes.
I can't hear you. Sorry.
Question the co-author. Question for.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you? I was saying
You
had one.
you asked me to wait a minute. So.
No, I said you had one more minute.
Oh,
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The money that was suggested in the proposal is not really much when you consider 4 or 5 years on your license. So there's currently a proposal on the ballot, which this year, which are asking the voters to approve an $18 increase in registration fees. You're going to be paying that not just this year, next year, year after. You're talking about a permanent increase, and that isn't going for transportation of any means. It's going for the state parks. And with that, if anyone has any questions, I try to answer them.
I don't have any questions, but I got a comment.
Yes.
I'm too bad you had to compare it to the one on state parks, because what that does is if you pay that $18, you get in free to the state parks, and if you're somebody that really visit state parks, that's a pretty good deal.
He was next. Then.
On line 18, 19, and 20, is that already referring to existing public transportation?
Without having it in front of me, I wouldn't. That's hard to answer.
$3 on new and.
We don't have those proposals. We just have that one, and
You tell AP 17.
There is no.
18,
This is not
19, and
existing.
20.
Lines 18.
19.
The governor may make free public transportation available to seniors in all communities, and it would be funded through the public transportation for seniors by imposing an additional $3 on a new driver's license or a new driver's license.
But does this public transportation already exist?
In some cities,
Yeah,
Long
some
Beach
cities, yeah.
under Proposition A, but that was written into the law on Proposition A. Riverside County and the other counties don't have it. In some cities like Wisconsin, there's 22 cities across the United States, including Chicago, that has free transportation for the citizens. There's 6 cities in California that have free transportation for their, but I don't know. I know the name of 2 of them. Long Beach is one of them. But that's about in low transportation was Riverside, I should say. But I don't know the name of all the other cities. I can't find out. I just saw it in a magazine, okay?
Sacramento, up until last year, did have free transportation for their seniors. But last year was the last year that they had it.
Okay. I'm sorry. Get the names.
This is more of a comment than a question, but all of us, at least we have in our community, seen empty buses and empty trolleys going full bore everywhere. One way to sell this, I think, is to say during non-peak hours. In other words, the seniors or disabled and so on, if they travel between 10 and 2 or something, could have free transportation, because their appointments can be made to accommodate this kind of thing, I think. And it would be less of a block in getting it approved. That's more of a comment than a...
John, didn't we have
Jacobone
it?
had a question next.
Didn't we
He
have
had
it
a
one
question.
time? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We had that covered in one of our proposals before.
Okay, I'm going to let her have her question. Was there anything that you want to cover that has not already been spoken to in your presentation? Yes.
Yeah, and we're on which proposal?
We're on 17.
17.
17, yes.
We've had 15.
Very simply, the $3 license fee, to me, would be recovered quicker now because as a senior, we have to take a driver test every year. So that's an additional $18 a year per license. Yeah, it's going statewide.
No,
Yeah, oh, it is. It's already passed. Because I got my driver's license just 2 weeks ago, and she said, and you'll be back up, and it's on my license 1 year from last week. So that's the revenue. So this is going to be revenue neutral. And my thought is that you could offer free transportation and have the $3 increase coming from the sales of licenses, and probably have a revenue enhancement, which this state wouldn't know what to do with, I think. And so I am strongly in favor of the recommendation of a $3 new and used renewal of state licenses to drive, and to apply that then to the funds for public transportation. One other side note is that I'm on the board of a small foundation that provides free transportation in the Coachella Valley, Palm Desert, Palm Springs, etc. And we had 7 buses, and all the seniors had to do was to call up and make a reservation and ask for a 2-week or a 2-hour window, and they would be served. So that's it. That's that one. Am I to speak about 15 yet?
Jacobone was next, and then Peter McGrath, and then you.
Alan?
I don't approve of the $3 on license fee. A lot of our cities, a lot of the transportation for seniors comes from gas tax money that's already designated for just that, and that's why I think this would muddy the water with the $3 fee. I don't have any problem with.
Water?
No,
I think it does, but anyway, that's just my opinion. But I don't have any problem with asking for free transportation for seniors at a specific time, like somebody suggested. But I don't approve of the $3 on the license.
All right.
Okay.
Peter was next.
Yes, I couldn't quite understand from reading this. Will the seniors be means tested, or does this mean that anybody that proves they're over a certain age, there's so many different ages for senior now, but that isn't my point. My point is, do you have to have some kind of a card that shows you're below a certain living standard, or is it any senior? In other words, can you and I get on the bus?
I think it would be very difficult to call any of you all seniors so you'd get free transportation,
right.
but I'm sure some of you would qualify.
Yeah. No, I'm talking
No,
about...
I don't think there'd have to be a card. I think that'd be with...
I think he's talking about the income requirement.
I understand, but the bus driver's discretion on, do you let them on or not?
But the only criteria is being a senior,
I
not
think
on any
it-
income requirement.
No, just a senior.
Okay.
Do you buy looks or
I
by
think that was your
certification?
That answers my question. Yeah, there's no income requirement. Is that the answer?
Right, that's
All
right.
I
right.
take my tax return on the bus.
And I still haven't decided how to vote yet because I'm not sure I like the idea of the tax on driver's licenses. But I don't know where else you'd put the tax. So
Well, but it's revenue neutral or
That's
plus because you're going to get more out of every year.
Okay, we're going to give one
Anyway.
more minute for
I'm through.
discussion.
Yeah, how
You're
about-
through?
How about
Okay.
15?
Alan, we've already covered that one.
Do I get 15?
We already voted.
Without me?
Sorry, Alan.
How'd you do it without me? I had all this research.
I'm sorry. I'm so
Sorry.
proud of you. Do you want to give? Can you give the research?
This is my
anyway?
third room to be in to find you.
Can you give his research anyway?
Well, we've already voted, but if he wants to
I think we
pass
got to
it
go to
around, I think.
Oh, well, that's good.
4202.
Yeah. 15, you voted. Yeah, because I think you'll get more out
You
of
got it.
the $1,000.
Yeah, we
fine.
passed it, so your research was not in vain.
Car door that doesn't open wide enough. Yes.
Okay, I'm going to call for the vote on AP.
Yes.
Unless you want to stay for the vote. Yes. You had a question? We still have a quorum. They can go. They don't have to, but you can just call the roll. If you get through, we'll let them go. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Yes, just call it. No.
No.
How about Dalton?
She's gone. Harchkin is not here.
No.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
no.
Not here.
Yes.
No.
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 Yes.
No.
I don't know.
Proposal fails.
I want to know how can, this is so important, how can we change it for next year that we get yeses? What?
Well, my problem is that it's all seniors. I think that all seniors are not poor seniors.
No, I don't want.
And
I could've-
this proposal doesn't
I
make
should
any
have said
distinction.
low.
You said, how could you change it? I'm just giving you my
Okay,
personal
low
opinion
income
on it.
seniors we should have specified. Okay.
That would be
Is there any other way we could have?
And Peter had a
No more fees.
No. I'd like to know what the vote was. I got the 8.
Oh, 6 no.
6 no.
And 8. I mean, I'm sorry, just the opposite.
6 yes.
6 yeses and 8 no's.
Okay.
Madam Chairwoman, I've been asked to ask Mr. Kerwin to join me at another meeting.
Okay.
If that's appropriate. Thank you.
Yes. We still have a quorum, barely.
Okay. Any other suggestions?
I would only reaffirm my suggestion that you put in the non-heavily trafficked hours,
I definitely. We had that in one time at the beginning, and they were taken out
because I think it would
I
sell.
think it would good too.
Yeah.
I 100%. I'll reintroduce it. Yes.
Phyllis, no fees.
Madam Chair?
I didn't. I tried it the first time, and they said we had to have it neutral revenue.
Okay.
So I'm getting.
I'm going to have to move on, but you
Okay,
can
I'm
get
gonna try it.
you can get their expressions individually.
Madam Chair, I'd ask that you hold the vote open until the 2 members who are not here have an opportunity to vote. No,
Yeah,
it's
we
up to the
would have had
discretion
to
of
do
the
that
chair.
before we took the vote.
Before we took the vote?
Yeah, before we took it.
We'd have-
Because, see, this way it looks like you're holding it over to change the vote.
Well, not only that, we'd have to have the whole hearing over again so they could hear it.
Yeah.
and we don't have time.
The regular assembly doesn't
As long
do
as
that.
we have a quorum.
They can hold the vote
We
and they
can
call it later.
Unless we're going to hold it over, we have to hold it over before we take the vote. We had 14 people here. Only 2 were missing. Okay, the next one is AP 19. I don't think Ms. Payne is here yet. Did we go to get Ms. Payne? Okay, the 19, 20, 1939. Let's see, we have, the next one is tenant emergency contact information. The next ones are all in order. AP 19 is next, and then 39.
We've done 15.
I said 19.
Oh, since I'm here, can I do mine?
Yeah, that would be great.
Did you say there's a number before 19?
We finished everything above
Former state
19.
legislature from Riverside. See, he knows me.
So since Ms. Block is here, we'll do AP 43 next.
So he was listening?
She's on our committee and she's present. Okay, we'll hear.
You know, can I tell you something? That was our former legislature from Riverside. He says, dear young lady, way to go. You are always there for Riverside and seniors. And that was
AP 43 is next.
that was really
Where did I say? Got a block. AP 43 on page 109. Emergency transportation. And then Ms. Payne will be next.
Okay.
Okay.
There's a few of you that are new, but I wanted to just let you know. My bill made it all the way through the Assembly to Senate Appropriations and died in Senate Appropriations. Oh, no. So I'm looking for the chance again to put it through in the hopes that this third time will be a charm. Basically, for those of you who are new here, this was to give, make sure that in the event of a disaster or a state emergency, that there was transportation to remove.
Excuse me for cutting you off. Have we sent for the, Ms. Mead, have we sent for the other authors?
Okay.
Okay, I'm
To
sorry.
make sure there was transportation to safely evacuate seniors and the disabled from their housing. It's wonderful to say that a neighbor can do it, but if someone is wheelchair bound or has other disabilities, that may not be appropriate. Plus the fact that we don't know what our roads are going to be like in the event of a disaster. Sure. Is that better? Okay. What our roads will be like in the event of a disaster or some sort of a fire or whatever. So in San Diego County and in Marin County, we have put this into our emergency plan. So what I'd like to do is, like many of you today, is to make sure this is statewide rather than just put into a few counties' emergency plan. And I'm asking for your support in trying one more time to get this through the legislature so that we can make sure that in the event of an emergency, that people who are on dialysis or have other problems have a place that they can go to safely with safe transportation. Thank you. So I'm asking for your support.
Yes.
You said that you previously had brought it twice before to the legislature.
Well, it just went through all the way
to the appropriations.
Right.
Why did appropriations kick it out?
They kicked out almost everything this year, and there was no reason, because the money comes when there is a disaster, comes from Homeland Security. It's not going to come from the state, and they will. Whistle-stop kind of vehicles, the paratransit vehicles that are used today, would be, commandeered but there needs to be money available to help pay the people that are running those transportation, that kind of service. And we don't know whether we're going to need helicopters or exactly what we're going to need in the event of an earthquake. So the money will come in when an area is named a disaster area for that funding. And one of our members, Evelyn Tom, brought up the issue recently in San Bruno that if they had had something in place to know where these seniors lived, then maybe they could have gotten a few of them out. They lost a couple of people in that fire because they didn't know they were available. The other part of this is to see if people would be willing to put their, if they're not driving anymore especially, to let the DMV know where they live, so that on their, not license, but a card showing who they are, the identification card, that they would put a check mark next to it and say, I live at such and such an address, and I'm in need of emergency transportation in the event of an earthquake or a disaster. That part of it, will have to be worked out by the legislature. But in various counties, like ours, like Marin, we already have some sort of a database through Health and Human Services of people who get meals delivered and who are being cared for by in-home support services. Yes?
Yes, Jacobo.
No, I think Ms. Stout was next.
Were you next?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
If the disaster is not designated a federal disaster, then the money would be state money, would it not?
This is to be used mainly, if you can explain to me, when you see, for example, the fire in San Diego, that was considered a disaster and got federal money.
It was that it would have to be declared by the feds that it was a federal disaster for federal money to be used. If it's not declared by the federal government, then state money is used. And that might be why appropriations kicked it out.
I hear you.
This doesn't in any way interfere with normal triage measures, does it? Because seniors and old people, when you triage people for an emergency, it's usually young and
when you have, this would be used when you have neighbors cannot use regular vehicles to take a disabled or don't have appropriate vehicles to take a person with a disability because the roads have caved in or are such that a normal car could not be used. And this happened in Southern California and this could happen very easily in Northern California. So
my question is, though, this doesn't set up the fact that they have to go after these people first or anything like that.
No.
That was my question.
No.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
I was at a meeting for the county, and it was them using federal money for needs for the county and everything else. And they were asking us, what are some of the things that we could do with this money that we already have? So what right now is that they have, and I have one for my house, it's got a red ticket on to show that I'd rather have a different color, but that's beside the point. The red means I'm handicapped.
Okay.
Our trash cans out in the street are marked with the cube too to let the fire department know that we're handicapped. We're also doing some of the things that you have in that bill. Now, maybe every county isn't, because Riverside is supposed to be one of the leading counties, as I understand. So we also have a room down below the ground that has the, I don't know what you call it, but a center where all the mobiles take place with all the interlocking agencies, federal, state, city, and everything else is taking place. So these are some of the things we do. We're using that money already. It's just not used all over California, I don't think.
Well, that's why I'm trying to get something that is sort of more or less statewide and used in the same manner. As I said, it's already being used in Marin, and it was put into the emergency plan in San Diego, but it's not being used throughout the state.
Okay, Peter.
Yes, your proposal's admirable, and I'm going to vote yes, but it is mind-boggling, and I don't know if everybody realizes how many millions and billions of dollars this is going to cost, and I don't care whether it's tax or state, I'm paying my taxes, so it comes, but we have discussed this at the Burbank level with our fire department, and they're not unprepared, but it's very difficult to evacuate an apartment house of 100 units, or if you have a 3-block earthquake, et cetera. So what I'm trying to say is the proportions and the magnitude of solving this are unbelievably large. And even though I'm going to vote yes, and I think the opposition that will come because paramedic departments, et cetera, are going to have to retrain their whole staff, and there's all sorts of emergency vehicles that are going to have to be in reserve, and as I keep saying, it's mind-boggling. Yeah. But it's an admirable idea because it is a difficult situation if a building with a lot of seniors has a problem. Once you get them to the sidewalk, what do you do with them?
Yeah, not everybody is going to need to be moved.
Yeah.
It's the most frail and the ones that are in need of things like dialysis and things of that nature.
We don't want to turn this into a one. You're probably right, but my kids, I have 2 children. One lives on the East Coast and one lives 40 miles away, so there's no way she can get to me in time to get me to where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah, but most of us in this room will be able to take care of ourselves in the short term. It's those who can't. And yes, in any disaster, unfortunately, we're going to lose life. That's obvious.
Yes.
What this tries to do is to minimize it.
Question, and then.
Yes, I have a procedural question.
Sure.
I assume that this legislation was based on previous legislation that went through the senior Congress, and we were told yesterday very clearly that once something passes the Congress, it's passed. Why do you need to come back with the legislation with another one again?
It went through the state assembly.
Yeah, but it went through senior legislature too, correct?
Yes, but it has to come back in order for us to push it again next year.
Why? That's not what we were told in the General Assembly yesterday.
But that's
that
really,
if it's passed by us.
Yeah, but it has to. I was told I had to bring it back.
Interesting. Okay. I would like clarity next time from the General Assembly.
Another question, and then yes.
Well, the only thing, your bill does not specify that we have to save every human life. It just says we have to do this. So.
That's right. It's not. As I said, in a disaster, unfortunately, there is going to be human life that is not going to be saved, just as happened in the San Bruno fire. That even with this in place, a couple of the elderly people, it happened so quickly they burned in their house. So you're not going to be able to save those people, or people that are in a house during an earthquake that crumbles down. But those that are left who are need assistance, there would be transportation available to help them. And a lot of it, there's another part of it, another legislation where we have to talk about making sure we have phones that work on satellites and not on cells, and so there is more to this than what is here. And when I started, it was very large, and it's been shrunk. So we're trying to get a piece by piece through. Yes, Arthur.
I just have 2 comments to help you go through, or think about to go through with this. Okay. One is, if the federal disaster is declared after the fact, obviously, okay, then there would be a reimbursement to the state for the funds spent.
That is true.
Yeah. The other side of this, I just had a senior moment, okay, was, in effect, oh, yes, we are more than willing to spend all kinds of money, federal money and so on, for the aftermath of a disaster. Why can't we get funds to prevent most of that happening to individuals in advance? In other words, millions go into this after it happens, but not before.
I think, this article, which was written in our Marin County Independent Journal, talks about how to be prepared. I think that I know that there are programs throughout our state about being prepared for disaster so that you will know what to do.
I'm just talking about the willingness to put the funds out to prevent, like you're aiming at.
Right.
As a rationale, okay, you, the government, are willing to spend all kinds of money after it's over to rebuild and do a lot of things. Why not, and why shouldn't you provide money in a preventative sense?
Okay, I'm going to call for roll call on AP 43, Emergency Transportation. Roll call, please. Ms. Mead. AP 43. Yes.
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 She's not here. Not here.
Yes.
Yes. Not here.
Yes.
Abstain.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes. Yes.
And there was one abstain, right? We just need the yeses and nos. It should be 12 and one abstain, is that correct?
Do you have the next person, or should I do my other one?
No, I'm going to have Ms. Payne next. You can stay there, though.
Okay.
Since she's here, since you'll be here, I'm going to hear her next. On AP 19, tenant emergency contact information will be next. AP 19 on page 101. A motion to hear AP 19. It's been moved and seconded that we hear AP 19, tenant emergency contact information on page 101. Welcome, Ms. Payne.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
This proposal is about accountability.
We need it quiet, please, ladies.
The purpose of this proposal is about accountability. Tenancy emergency contact. Purpose that managers, landlords, property owners should be held responsible for emergency contact Once you have issued a lease or a contract to a tenant, on the contract it should state an emergency contact for the landlord or the manager to get in touch with the next of kin or best of friends. Purpose for this: when a person is missing from their surroundings an X amount of time without contact from the manager person that's over the property, a possibility the person could be in duress, stress. If this person is missing and no contact is used upon this person, the person could be deceased in their home, suffering a stroke. If there's an emergency contact, then the property manager, owner, would be able to contact a person to enter into the resident. I think that this would save a lot of senior lives. I have no idea whether you have the knowledge of knowing how many seniors are found deceased in units by not response from management or any emergency contact. But if we could get this put on a bill or a law that any contracts that's given to tenants, that you can have it indicating on the contract an emergency contact person. It's very, very important. It's really appalling. I don't know whether you have ever had this to happen to you, to get a call on the phone that a family member is deceased in a unit, and you walk in there and they've been dead for maybe 3 or 4 days. It's atrocious. It's really a heartbreaking thing. I would believe that this is the least money spent proposals that you have to worry about. It's something that you don't have to worry about spending a lot of money on it. It's really just holding accountable, being accountable, so that maybe it's a possibility that we will be able to stop this from happening. Let's just say if a person is in their residence and they fall with a stroke, slight heart attack, if the neighbor or the manager understood and knew this, they could get on the phone, call a family member, the family member could come over, enter that resident, call paramedics, maybe you could save a life. So many times this happened, and we're without knowledge how often this happened. It's happening more readily than you would ever know.
Ladies, thank you very much.
We have a large population of seniors in California. A lot of the seniors take up resident, senior homes, senior housing, apartment buildings, and etc. Going around to various places of these places, looking at contracts, looking at rent application. There's no emergency contact on these applications. I feel that it's time for us to do something. I feel that if we can just save one senior from going through this, one family from going through this, I feel that as a legislator and seniors, we have accomplished our duty. Thank you very much.
Question. Pat.
Well, I don't see in your bill, in your proposal, that you, I mean, it says that if the person is deceased or is ill, you have contact numbers, but it doesn't say anything about what happens if, there's nothing in there that says that the landlord or the owner of the building would have the right to enter their apartment.
They already have that.
They already have that.
Anytime you lease or rent an apartment, it's by law. They have the right. They are supposed to have a key.
Okay.
Once you rent my facility, I have a key, you have a key. By right of law, you can enter the apartment at any time.
No, that's not true. Not at any time.
No.
With
In emergency.
notification.
In an
In emergency, correction, emergency, correction, emergency. You do have
Make a
keys.
welfare check.
Thank you. Make a welfare check.
Ms. Purcell.
Yes,
Okay.
sorry.
I have a real estate license.
Yes.
I cannot say I have a real estate license unless I show you the card.
Use the
Isn't
mic.
that on that?
Use your mic.
I cannot say that I have a real estate license unless I designate and show you the card. That's what I'm doing now. The thing of it is, I have rented homes before, and I have, for two different, my father and somebody else is a broker. They've asked me, why are you not in real estate today or long making more money than here? Because I enjoy being with you because I'm doing so much. That's the reason why. But the thing of it is, every contract that my dad had, he had somebody designated on it because he didn't want to walk into a house and not have somebody being able to designate there's an injury or anything. Most real estate companies have that, not all of them. And I think this is a very good idea to make it a state law if it's not already, because you have to. But in order to call somebody, you have to have 5 wishes, or you have to give them, if it's a medical bill or something like that. Unless you call the operator anonymously and report the injury, then you don't have to pay. Because in some communities, believe it or not, if you call 911 and they ask you who you are, you're going to have to pay that bill. I understand.
My understanding of this is that you want this emergency contact person on the contract at the time that they rent the premises.
Yes, yes.
Which
yes.
would work. I do know of a situation where a senior was killed in an accident, and the police went to her residence. She was in a senior apartment. There was no emergency contact, and she was in the hospital in the morgue for 5 days before her family found out where she was. There was no emergency contact on the lease. So I feel this would be beneficial to both the landowner or the property owner as well as the family of the senior.
Thank you.
Other questions? Yes.
I don't have a question, I just have a clarification. In your first paragraph, second paragraph, where it ends for each tenant, I would add currently in residence on their property so that they don't have to keep these records after the lease is expired or the person has left.
May I ask, do you have your mic on? I'm not hearing you too well.
Couldn't hear
Yes,
you.
I do. I guess I didn't get close enough. I was suggesting that you would add the words currently in residence on their property so that you don't have to maintain these records indefinitely.
So you're saying that if they move out and someone else move in, then you delete those records? That's obvious. They
wouldn't be a tenant if
that's what I'm saying. They're going to do that anyway.
Yeah.
If I move out, my record is destroyed because I'm not a tenant there anymore. This is just for tenants that's occupying the property.
That's what I was trying to say, yeah. And it's an option, but I think it's a clarification.
You had a question, Peter?
Well, I have a couple of comments, or really more than questions. Number one, I don't see that it says senior in this proposal, and you kept referring to seniors. So do you mean it for all tenants or just seniors?
Well, in senior buildings, now it's set up where if you're handicapped, you can live in a senior building also.
Okay. Now the other
so
thing.
that clarifies, senior handicaps.
I think your basic thinking is admirable.
Yes. Okay.
3 years, 5 years?
Right here at the top of your bill. Oh.
No, but that's not my bill. No,
Are you saying you don't think it's clarifying as to what population is designated?
Yes.
for?
Yes.
Where's that?
And then my other remark is a comment. You're assuming that everybody's law-abiding and means well, but I've had the unfortunate experience of dealing with evasive tenants, and sometimes they don't want to tell the truth. So you have a problem. There should be a loophole in the law that it's the tenant's responsibility to tell the landlord if they change contact. In other words, on the original lease or application, they would show an emergency contact. That I agree with completely. 6 months later, there could even be Not a deceptive situation. Somebody has a fight with one of their children and they want to change which child is the emergency contact. So I think I see some loopholes that will cause problems later on, but I'm prepared to vote yes because your basic thinking is right and we need to start someplace.
Okay. May I address your question? Usually on a contract, you have more than one emergency contact. See, you're not just asking for one person. Usually it's at least about 4 emergency contacts. So if number one, if I get angry with daughter 1, okay, then I have cousin Sue.
Okay.
All right?
I don't want to tell you all my tribulations with tenants.
Okay, are we ready for the roll call? Yeah. All right. Roll call.
And this is on AP
39.
This
where are we?
19.
This is number
19. I got lost.
101.
AP 19 on page 101. That's where we are. Yes.
Yes.
Dahlgren,
Yes.
Hartson,
Not here.
Irwin,
Not here.
Lacy,
Yes.
McGrath,
Yes.
Molnar,
Absent.
absent or abstention?
Not here.
Purcell,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Sarin,
Yes.
Stout,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Yakavon,
Yes?
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Should be 10.
yeses, and 4 not here.
It's just 10 of us here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It should be
12.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot we have people sitting down here. So it's 12 yeses.
12 yes and 4 not here.
So it's no no's. It's
13 of us, too.
She voted.
There's only
10,
You
11,
counting her?
12,
He's-
13.
Me, not her.
So it's 13.
I see 13.
It's 13 members here, and all voted yes. Were there any no's or abstentions? So it's 13 yeses. Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you. We're
thank
moving in the
you.
right direction. Thank you.
Okay. You're on consent.
Zelda, should I stay here, or do we have got to go?
We're ready for you now.
Okay. This is the first bill I ever wrote.
This one is
Is a
40,
proposal.
AP 44.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's on page 113.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded that we consider AP 44 on page 113 on senior housing. Eleanor Block.
Okay. Basically, this is training for managers of senior housing.
I'm sorry, can we have it quiet, please? Go ahead.
That this is a training program for unlicensed senior rental housing managers consisting of not less than 8 hours, and shall confer a certificate of completion from each attending. The training may include basic first and fire safety, like training managers in how they evacuate people from. I guess I should have done this one first, so to show you that, you know, there is a way to safely evacuate people, and sensitivity to senior needs and health issues, elder abuse recognition, and protection and education and information as available to senior community resources in the county and state as determined to be appropriate by each county and as needed. I try to do this just by talking to people in various counties. And I brought this back because I don't see it happening. And so I'm trying to, again, to educate the legislature to the needs of the senior population that's living in rental housing, and to have owners and managers of senior housing more sensitized to the needs of the seniors living in their housing. Most of these are people living independently, and they're not licensed facilities. And the managers may or may not know anything about the needs of seniors. So I'm bringing this back because I'm not seeing it being done on a county-by-county basis, and feel there's a great need. Yes, Sheila.
Leo and I, every month, have Lynette. She's the administrative secretary, I believe. Correct me. What is her title? Do you remember, Leo? Lynette's title? I can't either remember. She tells everybody she's a nurse by trade, and she leads if there's a problem, she'll lead the good ones out first and the handicap at the end. And then she tells us what door to take and everything else. I've been in 4 buildings. The same thing happens. Is it under the Brown Act? Do you know, Leo? What? No. Some act. Well, anyway, and I heard it also happens. Some apartment managers with schools, we have to do it. But I'm not sure what the apartment. Maybe it's just apartment managers are doing it on their own. Yeah. But yeah, it's a very good proposal.
Yes.
How do you identify unlicensed senior housing?
The only thing that's licensed are that facilities that have assisted living, like convalescent homes.
So you mean like these little group housing?
So, for example, Catholic Charities builds a building. It's all senior housing. The people living in it are seniors and disabled. That's who I'm talking about.
They're not licensed?
They're not licensed. Yes.
I wish I could have been the co-author on this, because I was an ombudsman for the state of California managing residential care facilities for the elderly for 5 years. And it's a very good project, and it should be properly trained to make sure, because there's a lot of them that weren't trained or even educated to handle it, but we kept up with them.
And my feeling is, the bill that I brought to you before, I almost wish I had put them together, but I was told to separate them. I really feel that if the managers are trained, then we're going to lessen the loss of life in the event of an emergency or a disaster. Yes.
So then is one of the main ways to identify these places through zoning in cities? Is that probably it?
It could be, but
because I'm just wondering how you're going to identify.
Well, it's very easily identifiable in the county I live in, and I'm sure through, for example, we have a facility called the Redwoods. That's a licensed facility. Part of it has convalescent care, it has assisted living, and it has rental housing. Right, but they're licensed. Mm-hmm. Okay.
But what is other than the?
But this is just Mr. Jones builds gets money from state and federal government to build affordable housing for seniors. Okay. That's not a licensed facility.
I see.
Okay. Yes, Arthur.
My question is primarily, why are disabled omitted from this?
It's seniors and disabled.
What?
Because I didn't.
Where is it? I didn't see it.
Yeah, we can put it back in because when the legislative committee sometimes changes your wording, so it said senior housing, but it should say senior and disabled.
Yes, yeah.
Yes, Kenneth.
Yes, my county supervisors are going to look at this as an unfunded local mandate, and they will insist that I vote no, so I'll have to vote no on this one.
Well, it's paid for by the owners of the property.
No, because you're saying that the Department of Health and Human Services of each county shall set the training program. Now, if you want to authorize them to put a fee in to do that, then I
That
could
is the
support.
way I wrote it. But as I said to you,
Well,
when it
if
goes
you'll
to-
change it, I'll support it.
I'd be happy to change it.
Okay.
That a fee be charged to the owners of the property.
That would be great. Well, we
And-
would support it.
And similarly, I will vote if we put disabled back in.
Okay. So they're asking me to amend it to say senior and disabled housing and to authorize a fee to the owners of the property.
Is that what you wish to do?
Yes.
Any other questions? Yes.
Would this lead then to all managers of senior housing to be licensed? Is that the idea?
No, it's just to get them so they're trained in.
But this leads to a license in your.
No, it's not a license. It's a certification of the people that are working at the place. It's not a license. It's a training.
A training program for unlicensed senior
Right.
rental. Okay.
Right.
We're probably looking at the day when they all do have to be licensed. But a good first step.
Okay, so are we ready then to vote on the amendment to the proposal?
No, he hasn't.
I know he has to write it.
Yeah, I was.
Can I add something, or am I out of turn? City of Riverside has training for managers, something to do with keeping crime out of apartments. And they have training for property, the managers of property, but I don't know, other than hearing about it, I don't know that much about it. So they certify them, that they don't have a criminal background, I guess.
While we're waiting for
They have to have a certification of some kind because the city of Riverside gives apartment house managers certain kind of training. I think it's through the police department, or I'm not sure what it's through, but that's what I've heard from the grapevine. But they are certified. That's to cut down on crime in apartments.
While we're waiting for the amendment language, would you look at AP 46, which is our last proposal? The author is not present, and it will be my responsibility then to present this proposal, which I'm not familiar with, except that I'd like for all of us to take a look at it. See if you... We didn't do which one? 105.
No, I was 44.
Oh, AP 39, yeah, Jane Ann Godiger. Did anybody go and get her? Did we go and get Jane Ann Godiger? Harchin is here. She's in on this committee.
But she's not here.
We went to get her from the other room.
Oh, well, if she doesn't come back, I'll present it. Godiger is the last one that's not on the committee that we did skip. And that's motor vehicle smart throttle technology. AP 39. We have two more that we haven't heard, AP 39 and AP 46. Those are our last two.
We've got 25 minutes.
Well, if she doesn't get back, we'll present. I'll do both of them. Okay, so mainly we were just adding senior and disabled wherever it appears in the proposal. Is that correct?
And also that a fee be paid by the...
I couldn't hear you, I'm sorry.
A fee be paid by the owners of the property, that they pay for the training, that it not be free.
Okay.
They're making money,
Okay.
right?
So review 39, also AP 39. For you speed readers.
Madam Chair, if you'd like, I'll argue 40.
I'm sorry.
If you'd like, I'll argue 46 since I thoroughly support it. But I haven't put my name on it because nobody asked me.
Unfortunately, she has to go. She has to do it.
He just left to see how long she would be before she would be back.
Yeah, as chair.
Well, we got one back.
So what one of you said.
No, we're waiting for the amendment. It was amended by the author.
Now.
So would you read the amended language for us?
Yeah, there would be amendments to the substance of the proposal. In the relating clause, it would be relating to senior and disabled housing. That's page 113, line 19. Then on page 113, line 22, it would say, whereas aging, seniors, and the disabled have special needs, etc. Page 2 of the proposal, which is page 114, line 35, whereas unlicensed senior and disabled rental housing, etc., managers. Then again on line 45 of that same page, after seniors, it would read insert and the disabled. Then the next line on the next page, page 115, page 3 of the proposal, it would read homes housing fewer...
What line was that?
Line 47.
47.
Homes housing fewer than 7 seniors or the disabled. Line 53, again, insert or disabled after senior, so it would be unlicensed senior or disabled rental housing managers. Following line, line 54, let me read the whole resolved clause there, that beginning with...
Starting with
line 51.
Okay.
Resolved that the Department of Health and Human Services in each county or the state shall coordinate training programs for unlicensed senior or disabled rental housing managers consisting of not less than 8 hours, comma, that a fee be imposed on property owners to pay for the program.
Did you skip?
Comma.
No. Maybe I skipped.
And shall confer a certificate of completion upon each attendee. And that was the end of the amendments.
Okay. Everybody get it all?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. Then we'll take a roll call on the amendment.
Roll call on amendment. Hutchison?
Yes.
No, you skipped me.
Out. Not here.
You skipped Block.
Oh, I'm sorry, Block.
Yes.
Yes,
Oh, she skipped you.
I'm sorry.
That's what she said, dog.
Dahlgren?
Not here.
Harston?
Not here.
Kerwin?
Not here.
Lacy?
Here. Yes.
Maybe I woke up.
Yes.
I'm going to abstain because I was not here to hear the amendments.
Yes.
Ryan?
Yes.
Saran?
Yes.
Scout?
Not here.
Sullivan?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Wilson?
Yes.
One just came in.
Let her finish her roll
Okay.
call. Don't get her confused.
Yes.
Stout. Stout.
Did she? She was.
She just came in.
Did she hear the discussion though?
I don't know.
Yes.
Are we voting on the amendment?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,
Did she call
11,
her?
12. Should be
Did she call you?
14. Weren't they all yeses? Oh, no, there was an abstention. One abstention. Huh. Yeah, I'm counting the ones that are here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
I just came in.
11, 12, 13. It's 14 of us here, so it should be 13 yeses and one abstention. 13 yes and one abstention, is that correct?
12.
Did you have a question?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Yes.
And one here, two here.
You mentioned earlier.
Can you speak a little louder? I'm a little hard to hear.
I had it on. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay. Question of when you have two abstentions or any abstentions, we had not resolved the question whether this would be a consent proposal or not.
Well, if you don't have any no votes, it goes on the consent calendar.
It does. Okay.
If there are no votes, no votes.
No.
All yes votes.
But it can't have been amended.
No.
No.
Then it's
Okay.
due pass as amended.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, now we're going to have roll call on the proposal as amended. And this is AP, where are we? 44. AP 44.
Okay, roll call on 44 as amended. Hutcherson.
Yes.
Block.
Yes.
Dahlgren.
Not here.
Hartson.
Not here.
Kerwin.
Not here.
Lacy.
Yes.
Graff.
Yes.
Mulner.
Did you hear the proposal?
Mulner abstained this
Uh,
time. Mulner.
Yes, I did, and yes.
Now you're yes.
Yes on the proposal.
Purcell.
Yes.
Ryan.
Yes.
Surin.
Yes.
Stout.
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Wilson.
Yes.
Yakavani.
Yes.
Yakavani. Is Goddard girl on her way?
She was testifying. I left a note for her to come as soon as she did.
Okay. I don't know what happened to Hartskin.
That's who I'm talking
She's
Oh.
testifying.
Oh, she is. She been gone
He
over an
said-
hour.
Didn't he say that he could do it, or somebody said he could do it?
Well, it's my responsibility if she doesn't come back.
about. I can go summons her here.
How far is she?
She's in the assembly chambers. No,
In the chambers?
she's in 3191.
That's the other building.
She is disabled.
She's in the other building.
Yeah.
No, I thought he was talking about Hartskin.
Yes, I am.
Oh, not Gallagher.
Let's just
Hospital is in 3191. Is that who you need?
Well, I need both of them, actually. Godiger and Hartskin are the last two proposals that we haven't heard. We'll give them 5 minutes. If they haven't, we'll go on.
Did you do 8?
Hmm.
Did you do 19?
No. No, we didn't do 19 and we didn't do 46.
We did 19.
19's
We
done.
didn't do 39.
But we did 19, yes, that passed. That was on the consent calendar.
That was a total.
That was the tenant emergency contact information.
13 and 3.
We didn't do 39. We got 39 to do.
That's correct. We have 2 left. We have 39 and 46.
Not 43.
Yeah, we did that.
We did.
12 yes.
12 yes. 1 abstention.
The only one we have now left is 39, is that it?
We've got 2 left. We've got 39 and 46. We got Godiger and Hodgkin is on our committee, but she's been gone over an hour. I don't know where she is.
We have about 50.
And Jane Ann is disabled, so that may take some time.
Last one was 43, had what, 12?
Wait till you write some bills.
That was one we just voted on. That was 12. Wasn't that 12?
I believe it was 44.
I mean,
44 is what we just voted.
just be done. They should be.
44 is the one we just voted on, isn't it?
I didn't record that one.
What was the vote on that? Final vote?
On AP 44. Here she is. 15. All we need are the yeses and the nos. Yes, you may have a seat. We're ready for you. Thank you. Okay. The next proposal is AP 46 on page 117, access to temporary pedestrian routes. And I guess you're going to get Jane Ann Godiger for us now? I appreciate that.
To get my breath.
Yes,
Coming up
please
those
do.
steps almost killed me.
Please do, don't rush.
Let me get some water.
May I have a motion to hear this proposal?
I make the motion.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we hear AP 46, access to temporary pedestrian routes, as soon as Ms. Hodgkin can get her breath. On page 117.
One 17. You can tell I'm organized.
That is how rural.
They're going to give you 5 whole minutes.
Okay. This proposal is to for Caltrans to provide accessible temporary routes when they when they have streets or whatever under construction that will benefit people with visual impairment and also seniors with mobility problems. Okay. The alternative routes that that we would like to have is to make them to where they're where pedestrians with disabilities can step safely across an intersection with possible, and give them enough time, and devices that are detectable by people with visual disabilities that need canes. And when barricades are used to, instead of having a barricade with no bottom or no top, have them to where somebody with a long stick can kind of get along and be able to not hurt himself. And especially on the slopes, the sidewalk slopes, Some are too steep, some are not wide enough, people fall, and especially seniors that have toppled over and they don't have access to it, and then a lot of breaks in the sidewalks, they can't make it. So, and then on a lot of them, they put the tape and the plastic rope, and nobody can get, they can't, and they have claimed that they put signs up in color, in bright colors where you can see it, that you can't get across, but a person with a visual disability, they can't see the color anyway, so it doesn't do them any good. So this is the need, it's a real problem and a need that Caltrans move ahead and start doing this. And they've been promising, this is on the books, that they're supposed to self-evaluate and implement what is good for people with disabilities. But they haven't done anything about it. And they were just in May of this year, one of the disability suits was, it won. But none of this nothing has been fixed for years. So this is kind of like to do a push to Caltrans and its contractors and all who are involved in fixing, to have people working for them that are familiar with the territory, what's happening, and that they know what to do, because a lot of them just, they don't. They let people go by, and it's very dangerous for people with disabilities. So this is what it's all about, that they shall provide and require that all contractors have some kind of education or training in how to deal with these kind of problems, and make sure that if barricades are there, they're continuous, so that the guy with the pole can find his way. And that's about it.
Any questions? Yes.
Any questions?
I just want to say I strongly support this. I'm very glad to see we have at least one resolution benefiting pedestrians in this. I would only ask you if you would make one author's amendment, and that would be to drop the reference specifically to Caltrans and change it to say any contracting agency, because cities do the same thing, not just Caltrans.
It should.
So my preference would be to make it more general, if you'd be willing to do it.
Yes, I would. And also, I also want to say this on my own. I think that every time that the word disability is used, it should include seniors, say senior disability, because actually this is for seniors.
Are you restricting it just to seniors? Or?
Yeah. But the thing is, even ladies with strollers.
You have to have disabled seniors.
Think it's the greatest, to have that, to have it happen, because it's just as bad for them. So it really touches everybody, not only seniors. But I do want seniors put in. I would like an amendment to put seniors in, and also yours.
Does the amendments have to come from us, or can it come from?
It's going to come from.
If she accepts them, they're the author's amendment.
Okay.
She's saying that you wanted to say seniors and disabled. Is that correct?
Fine, yeah, it's okay.
And what was the other suggestion about saying any contracting agency? Was that it?
Caltrans or any contracting agency, whether they work for them or not.
Yes.
In the future.
Go ahead.
I think that's an excellent proposal. However, I think that there needs to be a time limit.
Yes, there is, by 2012. I just didn't mention it, by 2012.
No. I think there needs, not 2012, I think there needs to be that within 6 months, within 3 months, within 1 month, that this needs to be done.
Well,
because if you said 2012, when 2012 comes, that's 2012, but...
Make it 2011.
No.
No later than?
No,
no later than 2012.
No, I'm not saying
because
permanent time frame. I'm saying in the temporary time frame that the adjustment to the pedestrian walkway needs to be have a time limit, like 6 months or 3 months, when there is like when they're going to rip up a road. They need to have a time limit that they can have the road lift up without, because otherwise the Caltrans or whomever is not going to want this. Whereas if,
How do you know how long the project is going to take?
well, that's the job of the
Well, wouldn't
the
you say
agent.
something more general, like the duration of the project?
Well, for example, I happened to be up in El Dorado, and they were taking 2 years to move a road, and the seniors couldn't get around that. But if they said that they had to have senior walking, safe senior walking within 6 months or within 3 months, they would have been able to provide that. Whereas this way, they waited 2 years before they did anything, because it took 2 years to complete the project. Projects can take a long time.
What are you suggesting is what I'm trying to get to.
Well, let's see.
Well, shouldn't they do it from the beginning of the project? I mean, once they have a project that destroys pedestrian access, they should be required to provide it.
Yes, but when they begin the project, they can't provide it. When they begin the project, they have to have.
They can. If they want to, they can.
Oh, they can. Okay. All right then.
If they're told to do it, they can.
Yes. Another comment.
I have a question about, what about the sections where they say this side of the road closed, and there's no walkway, no nothing.
They have to provide alternate dates, and
But they don't.
It's the law that they do. It's written in the law that they have to provide.
I've seen several of them that just say this side of the highway closed.
Comply with it, but it's.
Yeah.
I've seen it, yeah.
This may remedy that, you know.
Do we have the amended language ready yet? We got you all confused.
What I'm not certain of, or I'm unclear of, is what, if any, changes you wish to make to the whereas clauses. I think on the result. What?
Speak into the microphone.
What I'm unclear on is, one, the amendments that you were talking about to add or insert senior in various spots. I'm not certain I understand where you want it.
Wherever it says disabilities, senior disabilities.
So that would be in the various whereas clauses. That'll take me a while to get through.
I'll let you go.
I don't have any of those ready yet. And then the other question is, there are some references, my recollection, to Caltrans in the whereas clauses.
Yeah.
Do you want to change those to contracting party or ignore it?
We would contract and any other contractor, or the ones
I think the terminology was Caltrans or any contracting office.
That's what I thought too.
Okay, I had used contracting agency.
That's fine. That's fine.
Okay, let me.
Okay.
It'll take a while. I hadn't even gotten through reading it.
Okay. Are there any other questions on this proposal? Then while we're waiting for him to work on that, I'm going to have Ms. Gottiger to present our last proposal, which is AP 39, and then we're going to come back to vote on this one. Okay.
Don't move.
Oh.
Yes.
I need a motion.
Yeah.
I make a motion that we hear proposal 39.
It's been moved, and I seconded that we hear AP 39 on page 105, Motor Vehicle Smart Throttle Technology. Welcome to Jane Ann Gottiger.
I am a social worker by trade. Doesn't this look like a social worker's idea? Actually, I was reading this little magazine at the time we were all worried about our Toyotas, and it talked about smart throttles. And I understood it, the little magazine article. So I thought, there's my proposal for the CSL, and here it is. It's simply saying that beginning in January of 2012, new motor vehicles manufactured or sold in California would have to have smart throttle technology, which simply means when you put your foot on the brake, it disengages the throttle. It's a smart throttle. So that avoids, Zelda, I wish I could take a picture of the look on your face.
It wasn't directed at you at all.
Okay. That avoids the problems where the accelerators have become stuck and caused accidents and were supposedly defective. And many of us worrisome seniors knew it was going to happen to us because we're fearful we'll get a little bit more discombobulated than the other guys, especially with this potential flaw in the operation of the engine, and step on the wrong thing or step on them both at the same time. So, I have... the Ledge Council, when they examined it, surprised me by adding that there is Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Act of 2010 is being considered for adoption. Now, I don't know if there's been any further action on that since Ledge Council looked at this, but they were going to be requiring all motor vehicles to be equipped with the same type system. So it's a real 2010 in vogue proposal for smart throttles.
Any questions?
That was my thought, is that it should be a federal thing, not just a state.
Well, you know, I didn't know about the federal one when I wrote it, but it could be both. What if the federal one gets hung up for something? We have California emission standards that are not identical to the other states, so I think we can have safety feature after safety feature that exceeds federal regs if we choose.
Other questions? Yes. Use your mic, please.
Did you say the motor vehicles had a code up for it, or was it?
No.
What is also pending?
Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Act of 2010 is being
and that would be
considered
federal.
for adoption by Congress, and that would require all motor vehicles to be equipped with brake override systems.
And do you know the status of that?
I know only what Ledge Council told me at the time, and besides, I think we, can do it as well.
Okay, thank you.
Many foreign countries have already had this in place. And Toyota, well, it said in the proposal, Toyota will be doing this in their model year 2011. They'll be making it, but that's just one type of vehicle.
On call for the roll call on AP 39, Motor Vehicle Smart Throttle Technology. Roll call. Yes.
Yes.
Not here.
Yes.
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 No.
Yes.
Yes.
I wasn't here, but I've read this thoroughly, and I can say yes.
Yes.
No.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
I think it's 13 and 1, wasn't it?
13 and 2.
2 no's.
I thank you.
There were 13 yeses and 2 no's, is that correct? 1 no?
2.
2? Thought it was 2.
2, one there and one there.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
And I thank you.
So now we're going to complete voting on our final proposal, AP 46, access to temporary pedestrian roads. Are we almost ready with the amendment? Almost. I think the main Was there anything other than the agents, any other agency? What was the other amendment? I'm sorry?
Caltrans and other agencies.
And what else?
And to put in seniors.
Seniors.
And seniors. Okay.
I think I've got it. On some of the areas where there's mentions of disabled, where it's,
you want to give us the page?
well, no, there's several of these that I did not mark. There are certain references to what the existing manual provides, and without looking at the manual and seeing if it includes the term seniors, I'm uncomfortable making those changes, and I don't think that's what you were suggesting. I think what she was suggesting was in those areas where you're both saying things like this is what should be done, that's where I was making the changes to add and seniors. Okay. With that in mind, I have not made any conforming changes yet to the digest. I think I will have to make those. Those are something Ledge Council's responsible for, and we can do it after the fact.
We got the substance of it.
Yes.
Okay.
To be consistent with the amendments that you make.
Okay.
The first amendment that I was going to make or had written down was on page 119 or page 3 of the proposal, line 51. At the end where it says usable by pedestrians with disabilities, I was going to put and seniors.
Very good.
Line
What line was that?
51. Then line 66, it's accessible to channelized pedestrians with disabilities and seniors. Then the following page, page 4 of the proposal, page 120, I believe, of your binders. 120, line 84. It would say directing visually disabled and senior pedestrians.
Disabled and senior pedestrians.
And then to the following page, page 5 of the proposal, 121 of your notebook. Beginning on line 103, I'll read it as with the stricken language removed. What I was going to strike is on line 103.
103.
That is owned or. Strike all of line 104 and insert that is. Then on the following line, line 105, strike Caltrans. Or it should probably be.
I thought you were going to leave Caltrans in, but Caltrans.
Yeah.
Or you're saying instead of Caltrans, you're going to say the servicing agency?
Strike Caltrans and insert contracting agency.
Contracting agency.
So it would write, hereby proposes that whenever a pedestrian route that is affected by construction, maintenance, or repair, the contracting agency shall provide and require all contractors to provide accessible temporary pedestrian routes consistent with the provisions of the California Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices, and be it further.
Okay. So that would include Caltrans also?
Yes, that would.
Yeah, it would. It's not excluding, it's just including everybody. Okay, we're ready for the roll call on the amendment. Yes.
Yes.
Not here. Arch. Oh, yes. I know she's yes. It's her phone. Not
Yes.
here. Oh, I'm sorry. You were back. Lacey.
Yes.
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 Sullivan?
Yes.
White? Yes. Wilson?
Yes.
Yakavon?
Yes.
15, yes, it's 15 yeses.
And
One. Okay, 15 is consent calendar. Is anybody changing their vote for the proposal with the amendment? Is your vote going to be the same? Okay, I better let her call the roll. Final roll call, Ms. Mead.
What were the numbers?
15.
To 0.
15.
Yeah. It was all yeses. It's on the consent calendar. Would you make the final roll call, please? Ms. Mead, would you give us the final roll call? For the, yes, this is the proposal as amended. AP 46. Mhm. Yes.
Yes.
Not here.
Yes.
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 13 and 2.
Yes.
Yes.
White? Yes. Wilson?
Yes.
Yakavoni?
Yes.
So 15 yeses and 1 not here.
So it's 13 and 2, the same as it was before, right? Thank you all.
Thank you.
The meeting is
Adjourned.
Thank you, guys.